breaker panel's creative labeling. Get plugged in with Elite Power Inc., where sparks fly, but only in a good way. Professionally trained technicians, 24-hour electrical service, maintenance, and repair. Project estimating, the knowledge and skill for any commercial or industrial need. Call 916-739-1580. That's 916-739-1580, or go to elitepower.com.
Hey, it's Grant Napear from my friends at DAS Mechanical. Did you know most homeowners are changing their heating and air systems from gas to all electric? It's about getting more energy efficiency and saving a lot more money every month on energy bills. If your current heating and air system is 15 years or older, it may be time to consider a change. Call DAS Mechanical first. Nearly all of DAS's work is gas to electric whole system changeouts. Nick and his team, they're experts. They also have 0% financing and 24/7 availability if you ever have a heating emergency. Award-winning, locally owned. It's DAS Mechanical, serving their Sacramento and Placer County neighbors for years. Save more on your energy bills. Call, text, or chat at 530-591-1055 to find out more, or go to dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org.
Do you need new tires? Have you been putting it off? Don't wait any longer. Get the best in tires today and save. Get to Expert Tires and Brakes, 5810 Auburn Boulevard, Sacramento. For the best selection of Bridgestone and Firestone tires, all on sale and on-site ready for your car or truck, get to Expert Tires and Brakes to save big on sets of Bridgestone and Firestone tires. Expert Tires and Brakes, 5810 Auburn Boulevard, Sacramento. Expert Tires and Brakes, the best place for tires and brakes.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
The voice of Sacramento sports is back.
Hear Grant Napear every weekday beginning at 3 right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento. Hello, Sacramento. Sacktown. And welcome in.
Grant Napear.
How you been? You know this guy.
It's your show.
So happy to hear you on the airwaves.
2+ decades on the radio with you.
Just the start of an incredible journey.
Now he's back on Fox Sports 104.7 FM and 890 AM.
3 to 6 every day, Fox Sports Sacramento.
The phone number?
916-779-0929.
His name? Grant Napear.
Good afternoon, everybody. The Indiana Hoosiers won the national championship in college football. Did you ever think you would hear that? I'm wondering, what would you compare this to? Seriously, Indiana football. For years, the doormat to the Big Ten. I am not a fan of soccer that much. I don't follow the Premier League or the Champions League. Is this Leicester City winning their Premier League 10 years ago? How would you compare what happened in college football this year? Kurt Cignetti, the Indiana Hoosiers, going 16-0, right? The new college football playoff format. You get a bye, got to win a game, got to win another game, get to the Natty, win that game. I mean, in historical perspective of great accomplishments and things that you thought you would never see, no one ever thought they would see Indiana win a championship in college football. Not over Ohio State, not over Michigan, not over Alabama, Georgia, LSU. Nope. Not before Notre Dame, not before USC, Oregon, Washington, not before Texas, Oklahoma, so on and so forth. Where would you put this in terms of, like, and I really mean this, great sports accomplishments that you thought would be near impossible? Just with the history of Indiana. When you think about Indiana, you think of Bob Knight, you think of Indiana basketball, right? That's what you think of. It's never been a football school. You've never thought of it as a football school. There are certain schools like that. Kansas is like that. Like when you think of Kansas sports, the first thing that comes to mind is basketball, never football. Kentucky is another one, although their football program became respectable and is today. But Indiana, I mean, truly one of the most amazing stories of my lifetime when it comes to sports is Indiana football. I don't think there's any other way to say it. What a season. What a coaching job by Curt Cignetti. Fernando Mendoza at quarterback, the Heisman winner. Just a flawless season. I don't know if we'll ever see it again. I mean, first of all, teams in college football don't go undefeated anymore. And of all teams to do it, Indiana, beating Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, which, I mean, if you watch that game and watch the scene after that game, that looked like their national championship. And yet they bounced back from that. When I say bounce back, I'm talking about the emotion of it. And go to the Rose Bowl and make Alabama look like a also-ran, just another team. I mean, they took apart the Alabama Crimson Tide like we've never seen before. And then they just roll right on. I mean, it's beyond amazing. It's amazing. From the 916, do you believe in miracles? You can put it right up there. You know, I don't know if I would compare it to the Miracle on Ice because those were amateurs playing against professionals. I mean, the one thing I would say about Indiana football, they had the same rules and the same, I don't want to say chances, but they go by the same rules. They have the, I guess, maybe I shouldn't say they're on the same playing field as Ohio State, Michigan as it relates to recruiting and everything, but they have that chance. The Miracle on Ice was completely different. I mean, you had amateurs, true amateurs. I had two friends on that team from Bowling Green. What they did, I don't think will ever happen again, and I mean ever. It can't happen again with the way the Olympics are because you don't have amateurs in the Olympics anymore like this. You now have the National Hockey League players, the NBA players, so on and so forth. Those were true amateurs in 1980 that won the gold medal for the United States. I think to this day, that is the biggest upset of my lifetime, and I don't think it will ever be matched. I don't think you will ever see that again. Even if you could see it again, I don't think you would see it again. But where do you put Indiana football in the terms of things you thought you would never see? Like Leicester City, no one ever thought they would win the Premier League. I remember 10 years ago when that happened, I was asking a question, how did that happen? From people that do follow the Premier League. And I I was like, how does something like that happen? And they didn't have any explanation for it. For Indiana to cap off the season the way they did last night is truly, like, it is absolutely unbelievable. Here's the final call of the game as described by the Indiana Radio Network.
Here's the snap, and this time they're just going to go down to the ground, and that will do it. And the rags to riches story for Indiana football comes to conclusion, and they are the national champions of 2026. What a football team! What a football team! And this crowd goes crazy here tonight. The confetti starts to fly.
And I would tell you, I bet you Don Fisher, the voice you just heard, never thought he would see that happen. He's been the voice of Indiana football and basketball since 1973. Think about that. You think that Don Fisher thought he'd ever call that in his career? Basketball, yes. Football, nope. Not a chance. And I'm speaking for Don Fisher. And I don't know him, never met him. But what I do know is Coach Cignetti will be right up there with Bob Knight in Indiana sports lore. He will live forever and ever and ever. Here's Coach Cignetti after the game.
Particular play didn't feel really good about kicking a field goal there. The play before, they were in the coverage for the quarterback draw, which we put in specifically in the medium package in the low red against that look. We had to block it a little different than we normally do, and that was about a 45-minute discussion in the staff room how we were going to call it and do it. Line did a great job executing, so the back, and Fernando trucked the linebacker, broke a few tackles. And, let me tell you, Fernando, I know he's great at interviews and comes off as the All-American guy, but he has the heart of a lion when it comes to competition. I mean, that guy competes like a warrior. And, he got really smacked a few times in this game. That one drive we kicked the field goal, there should have been two roughing the quarterbacks and one high hit to the head that weren't called. I'm all for letting them play, but when they cross the line, you got to call them. And I can't say enough about his effort on that play and our team finding a way to get it done.
They got it done. And, of course, talking about that play, the quarterback draw, and the storybook year by Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner, a season that, in all likelihood, will never be duplicated. I mean, seriously, when you really think about it, I don't know if we'll ever see it again. Here is Mendoza postgame.
Yeah, a big concept that we've really had on ourselves this year is always betting on ourselves. Whether it's preseason, no one thinks we can make it. Whether it's figuring it out in situations like Oregon, Penn State, and Iowa, we've always figured it out. And whenever Coach Cignetti, Coach Shanahan, they called that play, we knew, hey, we're going to bet ourselves one more time in the biggest stage of the game. And at that point, I took the drop, and it wasn't the perfect coverage for it, but I trust my linemen, and everybody in that entire offense and entire team had a gritty performance today, and we're all putting our bodies on the line. So it's the least I could do for my brothers.
Incredible. They cap it off 16-0. They win the national championship. On to the NFL as we get ready for the championship games this weekend. And once again, it will be life for the 49ers without Robert Saleh, who is the new head coach of the Tennessee Titans. And you want to talk about a challenge. And Saleh, and you just wonder, why the Titans? But the challenge ahead for him with going to Nashville now after a failed first try around with the New York Jets. Got a young quarterback, as we know, in Cam Ward. You've got a team that can only go up. And now the Niners defense We saw what happened when Saleh left to go to the Jets. Signs a 5-year deal. Good for him. Good for him. The Titans had also interviewed Matt Nagy in person. The Titans fired Brian Callahan in the middle of October. They finished 3-14. So all of that is very interesting to me when you look at Robert Saleh. Okay? Really, really interesting that Robert Saleh jumped on that Tennessee Titans train. Going to be a lot of work. He's going to have to find an offensive coordinator, a quarterback's coach, because their franchise will really depend on the development of Cam Ward. They averaged only 16.7 points this season. They got a new stadium on the horizon that will open in 2027. All right, again, NFL news. What do you think for the 49ers? Robert Saleh gone, the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Packers have their new head coach, Jeff Hafley. All right, or excuse me, the Dolphins have hired Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator of Green Bay, as their head coach. So Miami, Jeff Hafley. I talked about this yesterday. John Harbaugh today, his press conference in New York, the new head coach of the Giants. So things are moving along very quickly. We talked about Sean McDermott being fired yesterday, out in Buffalo. What direction do they go in next? So you've got a lot of things going on in the NFL, plus the games coming up this weekend that we will talk about in length. 916-779-0929. NBA news. If you are a fan of the Golden State Warriors, your season just ended last night. That's it. You're done. That's it. You are not replacing Jimmy Butler. You are not going to survive without Butler. What a horrible injury. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Torn ACL. Torn ACL. And you have to wonder what the domino effect of this is going to be for the Warriors, especially as we talk about Jonathan Kuminga and what they may or may not do now as they lose a guy that was responsible for their turnaround when he was acquired from Miami and ironically has the ACL injury against his former team. Incredible. What a terrible injury. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. So we can discuss that. The Kings tonight in action against the Miami Heat. All right, one thing I want to do as we go to the break, and I want to circle back to the game last night. I understand Carson Beck's frustration with the interception at the end of the game. I get that. What a bad look for Beck. And really, this Miami Hurricanes team, when you talk about Miami running back Mark Fletcher Jr., I mean, it was terrible. Did you see that after the game? Punching an Indiana player post-game? Terrible. Seriously. But, you know, talk about Carson Beck. You're going to walk off the field the way you did. You don't even shake the hands of Fernando Mendoza. It's classless. It's a bad look right there. You know what? Win with class, lose with class. Bad look right there. All right, so we've got a lot on the table and still things I didn't even cover. So get online right now at 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929 right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
We are Fox Sports. Are your lights flickering more than a disco ball? Tired of your office coffee maker and server room fighting over that one working outlet? Call the pros who keep the juice flowing. Elite Power Inc. Elite Power Inc. is the commercial and industrial electrical contractor who takes your power and lighting seriously so you don't have to. Elite Power Inc. handles everything from rewiring ancient office buildings to installing cutting-edge control panels in factories. Their IBEW 340 electricians have more certifications than your printer has error messages, and they promise not to judge your breaker panel's creative labeling. Get plugged in with Elite Power Inc., where sparks fly, but only in a good way. Professionally trained technicians, 24-hour electrical service, maintenance, and repair. Project estimating, the knowledge and skill for any commercial or industrial need. Call 916-739-1580. That's 916-739-1580, or go to elitepower.com.
We've got great news for vehicle owners, regardless of what you drive, here at Downtown Ford Sacramento. For a limited time, bring your car or truck to Downtown Ford. We'll beat any major tire store's prices on a set of world-class Michelin or BF Goodrich tires. Then, we'll kick you down an $80 mail-in rebate. And that goes for any car or truck you drive. You'll get the best deal anywhere on Michelin or BF Goodrich tires installed by our top-notch service team, plus an $80 rebate. That's how we operate here at Downtown Ford. We've been selling Fords for over 100 years, and we've learned some things. Rule number 1 is to put the customer first. Treat customers right, and they come back. That's our formula, and it's why we were chosen as a Car Guru's top dealership for 2025. We are Downtown Ford Sacramento. Come see us on Howe Avenue. Online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes. G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Homeowners, if you have an electrical project you need done, then you need the good dudes at Gabrudes. Family owned and operated for 30 years, Jay Gabrude and his team are the area's recognized experts for everything electrical, from the very basic like repairs, lighting upgrades, and whole house fans, to the biggies, panel replacements, EV stations, and backup generators. Gabrude's does it all and does it right the first time. They're actually the guys their competition recommends. Gabrude's, expert 5-star service and always transparent, honest prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Visit Gabrudes.com or call 24/7 and speak with a real live person. Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes. G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gabrudes.com.
Nine 916-779-0929. Somebody says, Grant, let's get into the Sharks. Call me up. Ask me a question. Kings and Heat tonight. Miami played last night. Lost to the Warriors. Miami has not played well on the road at all this year. So the Kings get them on a second night of a back-to-back. Kings play Toronto tomorrow. They're in action tonight. And you think about the Kings. Keon Ellis is not on the injury report, so he's available. What about Domantas Sabonis? You know, at what point does he go back into the starting lineup? I think it should be tonight after missing a lot of games, but coming back for the last two. So Kings and Heat tonight will be over on YouTube after the game with Jerry Reynolds, Ryan in Sacktown, myself over on YouTube and X, the post-game show. Hope you can join us after the Kings and the Heat tomorrow, the Kings and the Raptors. So we've got a lot on the table, the NFL, the end of the college football season. You have the games coming up this weekend, Kings with 2 games in 24 hours, and anything else that you want to talk about right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. You can give me a call at 916-779-0929. This message, why isn't there a standard concussion protocol for college football? I saw at least 3 incidents last night. I believe those athletes should have been evaluated. They do have a system. I don't know if I can compare it to the NFL, but, again, I don't know enough about that to comment on their protocol compared to the NFL. 916, it's crazy how Bay Area media outlets are choosing to ignore the Sharks beating the two-time defending Stanley Cup champs on their home ice yesterday, 4-1. Plus, Grant, did you see the two goalies fight? Well, first of all, I have an answer for you. There aren't a lot of Sharks fans in the Bay Area. That's why. They have their niche fans, and that's it. Okay? And they've been really bad over the last couple of years. And yes, they have a incredible phenom rookie in Celebrini, but the reason is you don't ever hear people calling up sports talk radio in the Bay Area talking about the Sharks, and I never got a call other than you from the Sharks. So why am I going to talk about something that has an interest of one person in my audience? Now, I'm exaggerating a little bit. And by the way, you know this is coming from a diehard hockey fan. I love hockey, but it's not being talked about on the radio in Northern California. It's just the reality of the situation. Nor is it being talked about on the radio in Southern California. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just the reality of the situation. You got to deal with it. That's why. I mean, if you had more fans, it would be different. But you have a niche group of fans, and that's it. Sorry, but that's the reality. Plain and simple. That's where you're at. So don't expect to hear a lot of hockey talk on Northern California Sports Talk Radio. I wish it were different. I would love to talk about it. I love it. But it's not happening. All right, again, 916-779-0929. Rhino, does Domantas Sabonis start tonight?
Yes. Got to start the big man tonight.
I agree. Yep. Let's go. You know?
You're right.
Put him on there.
Yep. You let the guys that started the winning streak carry it through, and now you put him back. There's no excuse not to. He's got 2 games under his belt, and, yeah, you just got to roll with it and see what goes from there.
I'm with you 100%, and I hope that we will see Sabonis in the starting lineup tonight. All right, so who is the starting point guard for the Miami Heat? His name is Davion Mitchell. Remember him? That's right. Davion Mitchell, averaging 9 points and 7.2 assists this year. You know, that is 9th best in the league, and shooting 47% from downtown. All right. And his 3-point shooting this year is almost at 40%. Now, one thing that's puzzling about Mitchell's game, which I don't quite understand, he's a bad free throw shooter.
Yeah.
And yet he's shooting 47% from the floor, 39.3% from 3, and yet he's only 65% this year from the line. Like that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, there's always those few players where it's like, this cannot happen. This should be fixed. What needs to be fixed? It could be a mechanical thing, could be a mental thing, but certainly he's showing the talent to be able to put the ball in the basket.
Yeah. So Miami and Sacramento tonight, again, the postgame show coming up after. All right, so I wanted to get your opinion. I gave you an example of something that we thought we would never see in the world of sports. That's Leicester City winning the Premier League. I don't think anyone thought that you would ever see Indiana win a national championship in college football. Is there anything off the top of your head when you think about great accomplishments in sports, something that you would never see? I mentioned the Miracle on Ice in 1980. Can we compare what happened this year with Indiana football to anything, particularly in recent memory in this country?
No. It's on its own island, and I'll give you an example of what you might be able to compare it to in the future. But this was not a 16-1 upset in the NCAA tournament. This was pure domination in the best conference this year in college football. In fact, the last 3 winners of the college football playoff have been Big Ten teams, 3 different ones. So it stands alone. You can't compare upsets, but if the Oklahoma City Thunder end up going and turning into a dynasty, have a three-peat per se, that I think would be comparable on a professional level because it's a small market team. that has done it organically. And,
See, I don't agree with you there. I don't agree with you. The San Antonio Spurs did it. They're a small market. The NBA, if you get a star on your team, you can do that. I don't look at any NBA team because you see, here's the difference. The NBA teams are really all playing under the same rules, especially with the salary cap the way it is now. And we've seen in the past, whether you're a big market or you're a small market, you can win championships because it's been done before. Look at last year, Rhino, in the NBA Finals. You had two small market teams playing in the finals.
No, I get that. But if you go with a three-peat in the NBA, the way that Sam Presti has gone about doing it, yes, you got Chet Holmgren. Your main star SGA was acquired through trade, and you've built this thing for the future where you still have like 4 possible first-round picks this year. To me, that is total and complete domination out of nowhere. Out of complete nowhere. It's not because you got one player. It's because you built this thing the right way.
916-779-0929. Again, I don't think there's anything that's happened, at least in this country, that compares to what we just watched with the Indiana football team. Again, I would use Leicester City as the closest thing to another sports league outside of America, and that was 10 years ago in the 2015-16 season when they won the Premier League. And the chances of that happening were slim and none. And I think when you look at the history of Indiana football, I mean, you have to start with getting the players that are good enough to win a national championship over Ohio State, over Michigan, over Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia, LSU. I mean, the real cream of the crop, the real blue chippers, like what Cignetti did at Indiana is really, I mean, it is nothing short of a miracle.
I mean,
it's incredible.
Grant, he brought 13 over from James Madison.
Yeah.
And those 13 really kind of set the tone of what that style of leadership under Cignetti was going to be. And there was a lot of pushback at first, but everybody on that team genuinely bought in. Like, you just don't see it like that anymore in college football. It felt like an old school team that's been together for a really long time.
I'll tell you what would rival that is if Vanderbilt ever won the SEC in college football. And they had a much improved team this year with Diego Pavia as their quarterback. But like things that we really believe we will never see, we believe that we will never see Vanderbilt win a championship in the SEC over Bama, over Georgia, over LSU. I can go on and on. That's something that I believe would be similar to what we just watched with Indiana. Like if Vanderbilt could win the SEC, that would be the same as Indiana winning the Big Ten, and they just did it going 16-0. That's the comparison I would make if it could happen.
Yeah. Do you put any extra shine on what Indiana did because of the Wild West that college football is right now?
I put it as more of a possibility than ever before because of the money involved and name, image, and likeness. Now, Cignetti was very clear last night during the post-game press conference to say, and we don't have as much nil money as people think, but there is money there. And the reality is that money in college football right now is making the less desirable teams or the teams that have had less success have a greater possibility because of boosters and the almighty dollar. So if you were to have the almighty dollar, because you can entice players, particularly that are 18 years old, with money, if you have that resource available to you, you can go from being at the bottom and you can move up to the middle of the pack. And then from there, you can get lucky and you can win. It can happen now. I don't think that could have ever been the story before. So that's my take. All right, again, 916-779-0929. How about a Triple Crown? Justify was the first horse since 82 to win the Triple Crown without racing as the 2-year-old. You know, I'm not going to compare what Indiana did to an animal. I'm just not. I'm not going there. So, like, you can talk about horse racing all you want. I'm not going to compare what Indiana did to an animal. All right, let's move along here and get to some phone calls. And we say hello to, Oh, we'll get there in a minute. Sorry, he's not on hold yet. I mean, I'm not anti-horse racing, but I'm not comparing, humans winning a national championship in college football to an animal running around a track. Sorry, not going there. You got the wrong guy. Not going there. Seriously. Somebody said, talking about the Sharks, it's like the Islanders and the Devils in the New York area. Well, you don't get a ton of talk on the Rangers on sports talk in New York either. You get some, but not a lot. You don't get a lot. All right. Now we get to Al. Hello, Big Al. Welcome to the show.
Mr. Grant Napear, sir, thank you. I'll make it real quick. So was it abnormal for University of Indiana to win a national championship in football when they were the worst all-time record holder, if you want to call it that, in their football program over what, 7, 8 decades? Yeah, okay. So this just shows what can happen in the new world with new money flow when you got a guy, an alumni like Mr. Mark Cuban, putting close to be purported $7.5 million plus into their slush pot. So my point is you can have some teams now where if you get mega wealthy donors, alumni, that they can get those programs built up fairly quickly. Still have to have a good coach, have to have a great AD on the college game, but it's just going to be more realistic. It's going to happen.
It might. I mean, I don't know if it will happen to the degree of what we just saw. By the way, breaking news, Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones have been elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame as members of the 2026 class. But yeah, you might be right. Somebody just texted me, a good friend, and used and said Buster Douglas, for what he did in boxing when he beat Mike Tyson. So, individual sports, that's different than a team sport because anything can happen in an individual sport. Although you don't really see an unknown win the U.S. Open or Wimbledon or the French Open, or, you don't normally. You see it more in golf than you do in tennis. In golf, you'll see, an unknown or somebody that you don't think has a chance to win an Open or, win a major in golf, and they do. I mean, it's a little bit different in golf, but go ahead, Big Al.
Yeah, no, Grant. You're serving my dish. Yeah, because I played tennis, college, and stuff. So you're right. You're right on individual sports versus a team sport. And sure, you don't. But when you see somebody like a Jack Nicklaus, a Tiger Woods, over periods of time, now Scotty Scheffler, just period of time, you say, wow, because statistically that's very, very difficult to do. I'll tell you, of all those, you know a little about everything. For Brooks Koepka to win 5 majors out of, I think, 10 total, that's just way off the mathematical statistical probability chart. That's crazy. But you're right. Yeah. In tennis, you don't see it because we've seen 3 of the greatest tennis players in the last 30, 40 years, I'd argue, and they all have just kind of rotated around winning majors. So you can do that in an individual sport. I'm not expert on a lot of others. You played hockey, I played tennis, I played basketball, and team sports, it's just different, and it's hard to construct.
Yeah, and in tennis, in tennis to win as many matches as it takes to get to the semis and then the finals, and the way it is seeded, all right, if you're a lower seed, you're playing a higher seed, you would have to have an upset in every round to win a major in tennis. That's why you don't see it happen. Now, on the men's side particularly, you just don't see it happen. You rarely see it on the women's side, but you don't see it on the men's side. I can't name, right now, and I don't have anything in front of me, I couldn't name a major winner in men's tennis that wasn't one of the highest ranked players in the world before the tournament began.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm with you. And especially like if you say, they were unranked, or if you just say they were outside of the top, let's just be generous, 20. This doesn't happen, right? But that's, like you said, and that's a great point. Individual sports just way, way different. But when things can change and the dynamics of bringing in, either quality players, And do I really care for Indiana or Signetti? No, but I'll give that guy credit. I mean, he knows the kind of people to bring in. You could almost go on a rant now again and say, can that parallel with the Sacramento, all the Kings fans? Do you have the right kind of players that you have? Pro sports is kind of harder to talk about that way.
Yep,
but in college ball, absolutely. Yep.
Thank you, Al. Good call. Appreciate that.
Yep. Take care.
All right, you too. Good call right there. All right, so I want to get to this. The only comparison between Indiana and another team to me is the Miracle on Ice, the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team. I talked about that in the first segment. But the difference, and there's a huge difference, between the Miracle on Ice and what Indiana did. Indiana's in a conference. They all go by the same rules. They all have technically, the same opportunity. That wasn't the case in 1980. The U.S. Olympic hockey team were amateurs. There were no professionals, and they were playing against professionals. Right? Russia, Sweden, Finland, professional hockey teams. Okay? The almighty Russian team, professionals. That would have been like a college team in America going on to play the Florida Panthers, who have won back-to-back Stanley Cup champions or back-to-back Stanley Cup champs, or going to take on Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers, right? Take Boston College, okay? Take any of the top hockey teams in the country in college hockey and having them play a 7-game series against any team in the NHL, not even the best teams, any team. There is no chance that they would win. None. What the 1980 Miracle on Ice team did will never, ever happen again because, first of all, it can't because of the rules of the Olympics. But as somebody that was very close to what was going on due to the fact that I had two friends on that team from Bowling Green, Ken Morrow and Mark Wells. Ken Morrow had probably the greatest 4-year run in the history of sport. Like no one has ever had, in my opinion, a better run than Ken Morrow winning the gold medal in Lake Placid and going right to the New York Islanders, winning a Stanley Cup shortly thereafter, and then winning 3 more for 4 in a row. Top that. Tell me if you can top that. I don't think you can top that.
Michael Phelps?
We'll get to Michael Phelps in a minute. I don't think you can top that. I don't think you can top winning a gold medal for the United States Olympic hockey team and then winning 4 Stanley Cups. I don't think you can top that. I really don't. And I don't think you can top what Village Financial can do for you. All right? And I love talking about Spencer Grimmenstein and the phenomenal job that he does when it comes to real estate. And I don't know whether 2026 is going to be the year that you decide to sell your home. Maybe you are being transferred. Maybe you're going to go to a different location. Whatever the case may be, Spencer Grimmenstein is unbelievably experienced, okay? And here's something else to keep in mind. What's about to happen in the real estate market? You want to be prepared. Expected Fed rate cuts will absolutely renew the housing market demand. Buyers will flood the market. Bidding wars will happen. Homes will sell quickly. And again, you really do need to get your ducks in a row, folks. And the best way, again, is to start with an experienced broker to represent you. And that's Spencer Grimmenstein, broker of Village Financial Group. He's got the white glove service, boutique experience. It's a one-stop shop method, and it makes it so easy. He'll navigate you through the process from start to finish. He's got 30 years of mortgage brokering experience. He will get you the best rates, and he has access to private money. Call or text Spence at 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. It makes sense to call Spence at Village Financial Group or go online at vfgloans.com. We'll come back. We'll take your phone calls. We'll read more messages right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
If 2026 is the year that you become the very best version of you, Sacramento Naturopathic Medical Center welcomes you. SAC Naturopathic Medical Center is in the business of helping you live your best life every day, regardless of your age. As we get older, it's normal to experience things like a loss of energy, maybe even some occasional brain fog, or not feeling motivated to do things. We may also experience a loss of libido, or ED. It's normal as we get older and usually easy to treat. Dr. Dennis Godby is an accomplished author and a national healthy aging advocate. When he's not busy practicing medicine, this doctor, who is knocking on the door of 70 years young, does solo marathon hikes across the United States on foot to promote quality health care. When it comes to aging gracefully, Dr. Godby literally walks the talk. Schedule your free healthy aging consultation today at gettingbetternow.com.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabrud Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabrud's now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabrud's. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabrud's, locally owned for more than 30 years. Gubrud's.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's. Gubrud's. Gabrud's.com.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of comments as it relates to a bigger feat than what we just witnessed from Indiana in college football. And I'm getting some individual sports. You can't compare individual sports to team sports. It's much easier for an individual to achieve greatness than it is for a doormat of a team like Leicester City or Indiana football. I mean, it's very difficult to compare the two. It really is. I mean, greatness on an individual level is so different than on a team level. It's very difficult to compare the two. But it's an interesting topic at 916-779-0929. I was looking it up during the break. I mean, just for sake of conversation, the last time that you would be able to talk about this in like tennis, even though I don't want to go back and talk about individual sports necessarily. But in 1976, a guy by the name of Mark Edmondson won the Australian Open. He was ranked 212th in the world, and he was the lowest ranked player to ever win a Grand Slam title. He beat the defending champ that year, John Newcomb, which was incredible. I mean, that was pretty amazing. Goran Ivanisevic, Wimbledon 2001. And there have been some upsets in an individual round, but to win all the way to the finals, just don't see it.
Isn't that the nuance here? It's not so much upset, it's domination from someplace you didn't expect it.
Yes, that's correct. And what Indiana just did, they just dominated college football. I mean, they didn't lose a game. They won 16 straight. First of all, even great teams, the greatest of all time, right? Whether it's the NFL, whether it is in college football. I mean, the Patriots almost did it. And then there's a team out of New York. I don't know if you ever heard of them, the New York Football Giants, beat them in the Super Bowl. Yes. But it's very difficult. You don't see, first of all, it's very difficult to win 16 games in a row, even in basketball or hockey, or let alone football. I mean, it just doesn't happen right now.
Yeah, and Big Al's call was good, but it cuts both ways. That's what makes the 16 wins in the perfect season that much more impressive. Because
first of all, you couldn't have never gone 16-0 before because it wasn't possible. So, we have to put an asterisk next to that number when we say it's the first team to ever go 16-0. No team's ever had a chance to go 16-0 before because of the expanded playoffs. So that we have to give some reference there.
Okay, you're right. So
because there have been many teams in college football that have been undefeated and won a national championship. But now with the college football playoff, it's totally different. In the past, you would win your conference, win your championship game, and then you only had to play one game. It was the one bowl game. You didn't go to a quarterfinal, a semifinal, and a final. It's totally different now.
Yeah, it's a great point. So substitute that with undefeated, and that's the change. But to go undefeated with this college football landscape, I think makes it that more impressive.
Yes, especially in a conference that forever has been dominated by two schools. It's been dominated by Ohio State and Michigan. If you want to go back to Woody Hayes and Bo Schembechler or go back to any era, it has been a conference that has been dominated by two schools. That's it. Dominated. They've owned the conference. Those two schools. And when Indiana is talked about in college football perspective, it's been the doormat of those schools and their run for years and years and years, where if you were Ohio State and you were Michigan and you had a game against Indiana, it was basically considered a bye, that it was just a tune-up. It was literally going to be men against boys, and the point spreads would normally be 30, 40, and sometimes 50 points.
You'd have to have the alternate Big Ten channel to see that game.
Yeah. No, but it's the truth,
Well, and I'm trying to attack this at all angles because this really starts under Curt Cignetti, right? So do we look at it from a coaching standpoint where a coach came in and turned something around that quickly and made it that dominant?
Yes. That's really where it starts, with the coach. No doubt about it. And a extremely special quarterback in Fernando Mendoza in all aspects. And so is he, without a doubt, going to be taken by the Raiders, who are on the clock in the NFL draft?
It just seems like such an awkward fit, right?
I know. It really does.
It just does.
Well, the question is, who's going to be the coach?
Yeah.
but it's they're taking a quarterback, that's for sure. And very often, the best quarterback in a draft is not the number one guy taken. It's very often a quarterback that's not taken number one that ends up being the best quarterback of the draft.
Very true. I mean, Mendoza, one of the questions was about toughness. You saw that last night. He took a heck of a hit in the first quarter and then the run at the end of the game. Will Raider fan from the YouTube chat says, Grant Rhino, as a Raider fan, been a Raider fan all my life, season ticket holder from 94 in LA, back-to-back Oakland, all the way to 2019. All we know is silver and black. They cannot mess this up this year.
No, they can't. No, they can't. They cannot mess it up. It has to be a grand slam home run, period. You are 100% correct. They cannot mess this up. The future of the franchise depends on it. 100% correct. Yep. Which means they'll probably mess it up because they're the Raiders.
Well, then the question becomes, can Mendoza change the culture in Vegas? Is he that?
A lot depends on who the coach is.
Yeah.
To me, there's no way I'm hiring an inexperienced coach for the Raiders. Not doing it. I've got to have somebody with a track record. That's where I'm going. Now, I understand that, at some point, Bill Walsh had to become a first-time head coach, and Bill Parcells and Joe Gibbs and Bill Belichick and Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh, and I get that. But in this particular instance, I'm going with experience.
You got a name?
Now, you could say, who's more experienced than Pete Carroll, and look what happened with him. It was a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where I'm going.
Anybody jump out to you? We've got about 90 seconds.
Not like jump out at me off the page, but I mean, if it were me and I wanted to build a culture, I would have Mike Tomlin in my office in 10 minutes. Okay? Like, if you're asking me, okay, who's a guy that is not old, who has a resume and a degree of respect in terms of culture and longevity, I would love to have Mike Tomlin there. I'd hire Mike Tomlin in a second if I had the opportunity. In a second. 1 hour in the books. 2 hours left. Are you a fan of the Golden State Warriors? What does this mean now? Jimmy Butler out. ACL. The Warriors had won 12 of 16. They're done. We'll talk about that and the Kings Heat next here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Are your lights flickering more than a disco ball? Tired of your office coffee maker and server room fighting over that one working outlet? Call the pros who keep the juice flowing. Elite Power Inc. Elite Power Inc. is the commercial and industrial electrical contractor who takes your power and lighting seriously so you don't have to. Elite Power Inc. handles everything from rewiring ancient office buildings to installing cutting-edge control panels in factories. Their IBEW 340 electricians have more certifications than your printer has error messages, and they promise not to judge your breaker panel's creative labeling. Get plugged in with Elite Power Inc., where sparks fly, but only in a good way. Professionally trained technicians, 24-hour electrical service, maintenance, and repair. Project estimating, the knowledge and skill for any commercial or industrial need. Call 916-739-1580. That's 916-739-1580, or go to elitepower.com.
Tired of the same old routine? Need a place where the beer flows and the good times roll? Then head to Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Family owned and operated, so you know you'll feel right at home. Catch all your favorite games on 18 big screens while enjoying amazing food. And with 28 beers on tap, you're sure to find something you love. And don't miss everyday happy hour from 3 to 7 and again from 10 till close. Looking for more than just the game? Trivia Tuesday starts at 7 p.m. And there's Mario Kart and bingo nights for even more fun, too. There's always a blast happening at Fieldhouse. Whether you're looking for a place to watch the game, grab a bite with the family, or just unwind with friends, Fieldhouse is the place to be. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Bring it to the house.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Tell your friends. Grant's back. Grant Napear is back on the Sacramento airwaves right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst. K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
All right, so the Warriors are without Jimmy Butler, torn ACL. So what is the domino effect of a team that had started to turn things around, winning 12 of 16 games? Ryan, I'm going to throw a name out to you. DeMar DeRozan. Does he become attractive as a possible guy? Defensively, he can't do anything that Butler does. But what about a DeRozan on the Golden State Warriors? Yay or nay?
He's a lot more attractive than he was before. Defensively is the problem, but offensively, I think with the contract that DeMar is on, the fact that next year is not a full guarantee, he's certainly a name in the hat that I would be looking at if I was in Golden State.
What does this mean for Jonathan Kuminga? Does it change where his stature is in terms of available, not available, trade market, yay or nay, with the trade deadline coming up around the corner on the 5th of February?
It really depends on how much they value him. If he was a piece that they wanted to pay fairly and they knew that that contract would be a fair market value to other teams, then maybe not. It doesn't change anything. They still want to move him. But if they signed him thinking, all right, well, maybe there is a future here, this is where you roll him out, Grant. Remember when Steph got hurt in the playoffs, who came into the game? Jonathan Kuminga, and he performed well.
Okay, but when you say how do they value him, they're not even playing him.
That's my point.
Right, so they can't value him very much if he's not even going into the games. I mean, correct or incorrect?
Well, it could
I mean, how can you value a player if you're not playing him? Like, I would say the same thing about the Kings with Malik Monk when he wasn't playing. Were they valuing him? I mean, I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I think what I was saying is this is where you're going to get the firm answer to that. I think they might value him, but it might be a different style of basketball game that you play with Jonathan Kuminga versus what you play with Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Jonathan Kuminga. And so do the Warriors then turn the style a little bit more towards getting Kuminga involved more and show that, yes, we know we can play with him. We just preferred to play the other way. Or is it status quo? He's still on the market.
He hasn't even played. I mean, he doesn't even get into the game anymore. I mean, he's buried on the bench.
Right.
So we're going to find out tonight because the Warriors play the Raptors this evening. Toronto, of course, in Sacramento tomorrow. So we're going to find out a lot about the answer to that question because it was just last week that Kuminga officially requested a trade from Golden State. So what's going to happen here before we get to February 5th? All right, you also have to be realistic about this. When you look at the Warriors, I think it's safe to say that their window is shut, that they are not a championship caliber team. Even with Butler, I don't know if you would have been able to make that statement. But they're 8th in the West. They're 25-19. They don't have Butler now for the rest of the year. They're not going to compete with Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Denver, Minnesota. They're just not. So from an organizational point of view, do you just become sellers if you can and start making that true transition to the future now? Now, that doesn't fit Joe Lacob's MO. The season tickets and the prices that they're paying in San Francisco, Ryan, also factors into a lot of this, does it not?
I think it does. To me, the Warriors fans, and I've had this conversation with Damon Bruce, who's super in tune with everything down there. It's almost as important as how you handle Steph Curry as winning is at this time in Steph's career to the fans. So, look, there's been speculation about could there be a move like LeBron James for Kuminga, which makes sense. And that speculation was happening before Jimmy Butler got hurt. But I think it really comes down to Steph and, you know, whatever that conversation is going to be, because he wanted a legitimate window, which they got, but you can't anticipate injuries. And here's the other thing, too, with Kuminga. The last memory that every NBA team has was him playing well in the playoffs. If you roll him off the bench now and he's not playing well before the trade deadline, Grant, does that hurt his value?
Damon Bruce, by the way, I believe is still on South Beach and is not yet retired after the phenomenal performance last night by his alma mater. He was at the game. His YouTube videos, his social media posts were unbelievably entertaining. I don't know if he's off the celebration yet. He might still be down in South Beach somewhere. Here we are with the sun setting in South Florida. It is nighttime, and he might still be going strong.
Oh, there's no doubt he's still going strong. We're just trying to get confirmation whether or not he has clothes on at this point. So we've reached out to a few sources, put a few feelers out there.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be waiting, holding my breath for the answer on that one. That's for sure. Wow.
What a time. I texted him afterwards. Like, I can't even imagine what you're feeling right now.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, I can, but I've been there. It's very difficult to put into words. I've experienced that, and it is it's unbelievable. It really is.
I was almost there when San Diego State made it to the national title game against UConn. That was like, holy moly. I can't wrap my head around the possibility of that program being the national champions. Now, they ultimately lost, but that's the closest I've been.
When I was at the Super Bowl on January 25th, as we almost come up on the anniversary, 1987, when the Giants won the Super Bowl. And again, when I was growing up, the Giants were horrible. They were a doormat. They were bad every single year. They were embarrassing. And I was through it all. It it was awful, and I'll never forget the euphoria of being there to watch them win their first Super Bowl. Something I will never, ever forget. But Indiana's the national champs. If you're joining us late, talking about the accomplishment of Indiana and how you would rank that. Patrick from New York weighing in on the text line. Word from Steve Popper from Newsday is Karl Anthony Towns is on the trade block. I will say this right now. With a players-only meeting, which doesn't mean squat to me, that Jalen Brunson had after another loss by the Knicks yesterday, and looking at the New York tabloids today, Mike Brown better fasten his seatbelt, okay? Because the Knicks are in a really bad spot right now. And again, Jalen Brunson, the all-star, after they were blown out by the Mavericks, called a players-only meeting. The Knicks have lost 9 of their last 11. Okay? And after starting the season at 23-9, and they won the NBA Cup, they have now fallen to 25-18. And so far in this month, which is 3 weeks old, their offense is in the bottom 5 in the league. They were booed off the court yesterday, trailing to the Mavericks, not a good team, 75-45 at halftime. Think about that. They were down 30 at the break, and they got booed off the floor. Booed off the floor. Josh Hart, after the game, said, quote, "We all need to do some soul searching. Right now we're playing embarrassing basketball. We're not executing on the offensive end. Defensively, we've been abysmal. We've been terrible defensively all year." Well, you shouldn't have fired your coach. Okay? That's what you get when you're a dumb organization, when you have a horrible owner, and you don't make the right decisions. This is what happens. This is what happens when you fire a coach in Tom Thibodeau that took you to a place that you had not been to in 25 years. Okay? That's what happens. When you make bad decisions, bad things happen. When you fire coaches that shouldn't be fired because you panic and you do something stupid, these things normally occur. You can say the same thing about here in Sacramento. Bad decisions result in bad results. Good decisions normally will give you good results. Bad decisions, bad results. You make a stupid decision, you fire a coach that shouldn't be fired, these things will happen. And it's happening right now in New York, and you just have to wonder, you have a very temperamental owner in James Dolan who does not care about the bottom line, the almighty dollar. It's not a big deal to him. He prints money. The Knicks and the Rangers are cash cows. And just don't think that Mike Brown could not be fired despite the fact that he's on a 4-year deal. Yes, he could. It's New York, okay? Yes, he could. He was fired here in Sacramento, not that far removed from being the unanimous NBA Coach of the Year. If you don't think he can be fired in New York, let me tell you something. If this continues, and I don't think it will because I think they have too much talent, but if this continues for the Knicks, don't think it can't happen. It's New York. Now, the good news for the Knicks, and this could be good news or it could be a disaster, is they play Brooklyn next. And if they lose at home to Brooklyn tomorrow, look out. Then the Knicks are at Philly. Then they have the Kings in town at Toronto, home Portland to wrap up the month. Go ahead.
What to you would be more likely if it continued, a cat trade or Mike Brown being fired?
Depends on how long you tell me it would continue for.
You lose to Brooklyn.
They're not going to fire Mike Brown if they lose to Brooklyn.
Okay.
But if you get to the All-Star break and you're losing to teams like Brooklyn and Washington and Sacramento, who you lost to a couple days ago, I'm just telling you, it's James Dolan, it's New York. Don't think it can't happen.
Okay.
Because it can happen.
So bold prediction. Come February 6th, they're Mike Brown and Cat still in New York.
I would say yes. So let me ask you the question. What is the market for Karl Anthony Towns?
Salary matching. I don't think it comes with any picks.
Forget about the salary for a moment, just for sake of conversation. Basketball specimen, basketball acumen, basketball, could he help you win or not? Forget about the money or not. I like Karl Anthony Towns. I'd have him on my team. Not that he's Wilt Chamberlain, but that would be attractive to me.
If I am a team that has a big that can do the things that Cat does not do, then yes, I think it's attractive. But if you're a team that would be sending out a big that does the things that Cat doesn't do well for Cat, I don't think it will be good.
What do you think? If you are a NBA team, would you want Karl Anthony Towns? And here's the other aspect of New York, and I know how it works in New York, okay? I understand how it works in New York. They're going to want to blame somebody for what is currently going on. Now, also understand it's January, and the next season is going to be evaluated based on what they do in the playoffs. So you could end up 6th in the East, or you could end up 1st in the East if you're the Knicks, which isn't going to happen. But just for point of reference, if you succeed in the postseason, that's fine, regardless of what your regular season record is, and vice versa. If you don't succeed, you have an owner that was on WFAN radio in New York 2 weeks ago, right before the Knicks played the Pistons. By the way, it was coincided with their skid that they're currently on, and said he expects the team to go and win a championship and that they are a team that should be in the NBA Finals. That's your owner on the all sports station in New York, WFAN, 2 weeks ago. And then the Knicks went out, and I believe they lost by 31 points that night to the Detroit Pistons. And that was the beginning of their slide. They were embarrassed in Motown by the Pistons. And the Knicks and their fans, okay, they are going to want to blame somebody. And if Karl Anthony Towns is indeed on the trade block, who has not played well, fans will turn on anyone in New York in a New York second, no pun intended. Okay? It happens. And it will happen again. And it doesn't matter if you're paying Mike Brown $10 million a year or $10 a year. They will run Mike Brown out of town so fast, he won't even know what happened to him. They did it with Mark Jackson, a hometown hero. Okay? A hometown hero. A St. John's product. A rookie of the year. Doesn't matter. They ran him out of New York. Ran him out. Gone. I mean, you wouldn't believe what it was like when Mark Jackson was running out of New York. So here's a good one. Unless Giannis is coming back for Cat, I wouldn't do it. Will Giannis Antetokounmpo be on the Milwaukee Bucks come the morning of February 6th or the evening of February 5th? Because we keep hearing his name. Giannis in New York would be beyond belief. Giannis in New York would be such a megastar, would be Jeremy Lin-like for his brief period of time. Giannis in New York would be unfreaking believable. Now, would it translate into getting James Dolan his wish? I don't know. But what I do know is there is going to be a fall guy in New York. It's going to be one. And it's happening. And the Knicks better start winning some games or they are in deep, deep, deep trouble. We get to Philip and Galt. Hey, Philip, how are you?
Hey, Grant, how are you?
I'm good, buddy.
Yeah. So, if you put on your GM hat, I'll try to put on my GM hat too, but I don't know how good of a GM I am. But if you were the Raiders, would you trade for Lamar Jackson?
No.
I mean, I would because
No.
I think he's exciting. No?
No. No way. No way.
Okay. I guess I'm not that good of a GM then. Hey, Grant, well then, I appreciate that. How about so
Here's why I
one
would
of my-
not trade for him. First of all, let me give you the reason. The
Okay.
Raiders are trying to build something, and Lamar's not an old man, but he's 29. He has had injuries, and his failure in big games, it would be a concern for me. And if I'm the Raiders and I'm looking for, like, if I'm really trying to build, I want a young quarterback. I want somebody that can grow into the 15-year type of a player, somebody that can carry my team, be the Patrick Mahomes of my team, be that guy, be the Joe Burrow, be Josh Allen, even though he hasn't won a Super Bowl. Well, I would put Josh and Lamar in the same category now that I think about it. But no, I'm going youth. I have to make sure I draft the right guy, and he has got to take me to that level and be that one for over 10 years.
Yeah, you take a fresh quarterback. In
Yes.
other words,
Yes.
yeah, somebody fresh and young and new, like Mendoza.
Well, I don't know what he's going to be as an NFL player, but I'm a New York Giants fan, and after watching Jackson Dart play, I feel the Giants have a franchise quarterback. Like, I feel confident in saying that. If I'm a Raiders fan, I want to be saying that as I'm watching a quarterback play next year. Whereas, is he going to be a Caleb Williams? And by the way, Williams was mocked during his first year, and now look at Caleb Williams. To me, looks like a quarterback that is going to be a 15-year quarterback for the Bears, and in all likelihood will probably get them to the promised land. That's what the Raiders need. The Raiders need that supreme talent at that position that's young. They cannot make a mistake with this pick. They cannot.
Point taken. Hey, Grant, let me see if I can ask you two quick questions. I don't want to take all your time, but I'll take them off the air too. Are you going to be at Radio Row for Super Bowl week?
No,
and if
I am not.
Oh, no?
No.
Okay. And then last point is, can you tell me, Sacramento Sports Hall of Fame coming up? One of our friends, T.C. Martin, runs it. Can you tell me one of the stories of Tony the Tiger Lopez, because he's in that Sacramento Sports Hall of Fame? Can you tell me when there was a controversial fight, and I guess you were the announcer, I guess you hid under the ring. Can you tell me that story again? That would be awesome. I just want to hear that story too, Grant. I know you told a long time ago, but if you can, I'll take it off the air. Thanks, Grant.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'll tell that story when we come back because it was a dandy. That's next right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Are your lights flickering more than a disco ball? Tired of your office coffee maker and server room fighting over that one working outlet? Call the pros who keep the juice flowing. Elite Power Inc. Elite Power Inc. is the commercial and industrial electrical contractor who takes your power and lighting seriously so you don't have to. Elite Power Inc. handles everything from rewiring ancient office buildings to installing cutting-edge control panels in factories. Their IBEW 340 electricians have more certifications than your printer has error messages, and they promise not to judge your breaker panel's creative labeling. Get plugged in with Elite Power Inc., where sparks fly, but only in a good way. Professionally trained technicians, 24-hour electrical service, maintenance, and repair. Project estimating, the knowledge and skill for any commercial or industrial need. Call 916-739-1580. That's 916-739-1580. Or go to elitepower.com.
Looking for the perfect spot to watch the game and enjoy amazing food and drinks? Look no further than Fieldhouse American Sports Pub. Family owned and operated, Fieldhouse is passionate about creating a fun, welcoming atmosphere for everyone. Spice things up on Tuesdays with Taco Tuesday. Buy any order of our delicious tacos and get a refreshing margarita for just $6. On Wednesday, Fieldhouse features incredible drink specials. Enjoy $5 well drinks and ice cold pints all day long. Fieldhouse was voted the #1 sports bar in Sacramento. Tons of TVs, a mouthwatering menu, and daily specials. It's the perfect sports bar to catch all the action. Visit us today at 1833 Fulton Avenue. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, where the food is fantastic, the drinks are flowing, and the good times never stop. Fieldhouse, bring it to the house.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
So, Tony the Tiger Lopez, a phenomenal name in the history of Sacramento sports. I'm always asked my favorite moments ever at Arco Arena, and there are a couple, but I don't know if I've ever been in Arco Arena with an environment when Tony Lopez and Rocky Lockridge fought for the first time. Lockridge was the world champion, national television, and I had never in my life been to a boxing match. Never. And so I am covering the fight for Channel 31, and I got to know the promoter very well, and I was sitting literally ringside, not second row, first row, where I could rest my arms on the ring. Okay? And when Tony Lopez came out to the music of Eye of the Tiger, the atmosphere in that arena was something I've never experienced before. And I've been to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. I've been to the Super Bowl. I've been to a lot of great events. I've never experienced the adrenaline rush of that fight. That fight ended up being Ring Magazine's Fight of the Year. And Tony was knocked down in the third round, or an earlier round. I believe it was round 3. I may be mistaken. And they went the distance, and Lopez won the decision and the belt over Rocky Lockridge. And I was so close to the action that I was actually getting beads of sweat on me from the boxers, and I believe at times a little bit of blood, which I wasn't crazy about, but like that's how close I was. I will never forget that. That to me is one of the greatest moments in the history of that arena. And I announced the first ever game in that arena, and I announced the last ever game in that arena, and I was there for a lot of things in between. I've never experienced anything like Lopez Lockridge in Fight 1. Then later on, and quite frankly, and I appreciate Philip from Galt, is I don't remember whether it was Tony Lopez or Loretta Garza. But the fight was on CBS, national television. Tim Ryan, the great announcer for CBS, and did a lot of boxing. And I believe it was Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy on the call. And again, I am sitting in the first row of that fight. And I'll never forget this because I believe it was Garza, but it could have been Tony. But Garza loses a very controversial decision. And all of a sudden, debris starts coming down from the stands everywhere. And I crawl underneath the ring to protect myself. And I am underneath the ring, and I cannot tell you how loud it was under there because of the commotion that was going on above me on the ring. Because at that point, there's security in there, there's the managers in there, the trainers. Like, it's crazy. And my dad called me later to say, I watched you crawl underneath the ring. You were on TV crawling under the ring on CBS. I was like, oh, my God. It was a chaotic scene at Arco. And to protect myself from all of the debris coming down to the ring, I crawled underneath the ring. And by the way, I wasn't the only one under there. I don't know who was. But, like, wow. It was unbelievable.
Okay, let's go into this for a few minutes. How many people were under the ring?
I didn't count them. I was just trying to protect myself at the time, but there were others that were underneath there to protect themselves because there was the debris coming out of the stands was not just like one or two. I'm talking about like full water bottles, everything. I mean, it was like, you had to protect yourself.
Was there anything cool under the ring?
No, I wasn't really down there observing. I was down there scared and was just waiting for the commotion to stop so I could come back out from under the ring. And at some point I was like, gosh, I hope this thing doesn't collapse on me. Because it was so loud. Like it was so loud above me. Like, I'll never forget that.
You took my last question because if there's that many people in the ring, it's not made for that many people in the ring.
It's made for a lot because at the end of fights, you'll normally see a lot of those that jump into the ring on the side of the fighter, trainers, everything else. So, you have the PA announcer, the ring girls. I mean, you'd be surprised. It can hold a lot of weight, but I was thinking about that at the time. I was like, gosh, I hope the stomping on the ring was so loud from underneath. And so my biggest concern at that point was, gee, I hope this doesn't cave in on me.
Did they finally give you a little like clue, like, okay, you can come out from under the ring?
No,
or when did
I just did on my own.
You just
kind
of.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a heck of a story.
Yeah. There was something about being ringside for a championship fight, and the Lopez-Rocky Lockridge fight one, again, to this day, may be the most exciting, incredible sporting event that I've ever been to. And I've been to them all. So, I mean, like, I have a lot of history when I can tell you I've been to big time sporting events. Being at that fight was at the top of my list or right near the top of my list with Tony Lopez. That Lopez Rocky Lockridge fight, again, was Ring Magazine's Fight of the Year. So, I mean, these guys went at it, and it was dramatic. It was an incredible fight, and Lockridge lost his belt that afternoon at Arco Arena.
Incredible.
National television.
Incredible. So, by the way, if you ever need to climb under a ring again and you're at a WWE event, you'll be much more comfortable. There's a monitor down there. They've got some cold beverages waiting for you.
Perfect.
So, I don't want
there
you
was
to be
no
afraid.
monitor down there. There was no cold beverages. Not at all.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
just so you know, you'll be taken
Just
care
so
of.
you know, for the history of boxing, Marv Albert and Dr. Ferdy Pacheco, the fight doctor, called many fights at Arco for NBC. Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy were there for other fights. Sacramento has had a rich boxing tradition. Rich. There hasn't been any in a while, but they have had a rich boxing tradition. And Tony Lopez and Loretta Garza during that era would fill up the arena, and it was like you want to do anything to be in the arena for those fights.
So was Sacramento a boxing town? Good boxing town?
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Marv Albert was calling him out here.
Oh, Marv did boxing. Marv was one of the best boxing announcers of all time. And, of course, his brother, who we had on this show, Steve Albert, has called some of the greatest fights in the history of boxing.
Yes, he has.
Steve was the #1 boxing announcer for HBO and Showtime. Steve did all of those fights. The Alberts, even Kenny does boxing. They all do boxing.
What is it that makes boxing not so popular these days? Is it the
judging,
personalities?
the fact that there's no governing body, the fact that it is always been looked upon as not in the up and up because you have the WBC, you have the WC, you have this, you have that. There's never been one governing body in boxing, and it's been the biggest culprit. Is you've got different governing bodies of a sport. You've got extremely questionable decisions, and the popularity of MMA, came in, and what Dana White did with that sport, they severely hurt boxing.
Yeah, but it still seems like there's a decent amount of money in boxing when you get the big matches.
But I'm sure there is. But I can tell you, for someone that grew up with Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, and then Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, that era, listen, when Thomas the Hitman Hearns would fight against a Hagler or a Leonard or a Duran in that era, you that was must see. Like, that was talked about, like that was like the Super Bowl. Okay. I mean, someone just said Ryan Clancy were around the Boom Boom Mancini Duran era. That's correct. They were. Tim Ryan was one of the great boxing announcers of all time. And he and Gil Clancy were phenomenal. Just like Marv and the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. They used to have a segment on NBC Sports World, which was a weekend show. And they were doing boxing every week. All the time. Boxing was so different back then. Now it's totally different. It's not even, you can't even find it. But during that era, Olympic boxing was unbelievable. I remember watching Sugar Ray Leonard in the Olympics. Like, everyone was watching Sugar Ray Leonard in the Olympics. Like, it was like one of the biggest events, if not the biggest event of the Summer Games. The boxing was maybe as big as any event in the Summer Games. I would rival it right up there with the 100-meter dash. That's how popular boxing was during that era in the Olympics. Like, everybody was watching it. It was like, when Sugar Ray fighting? It was must-see TV. You didn't miss that. It was completely different. Boxing today, boxing then, it's not even comparable. It's like not even the same sport. It's not even the same. Nothing about it is the same. Popularity, TV coverage, promotion, marketing, nothing. It's not even close. And this was pre-internet, pre-everything. And the promotion for boxing back then, whether it was, the back page of the tabloids every single day. I mean, you knew Howard Cosell, right? I mean, are you kidding me? Come on. No, it wasn't even close. Totally different. Totally different.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah. Huh?
Very interesting. Appreciate the update.
Yeah, absolutely. Do I think that the pay-per-view world also crushed boxing? No. People will pay a lot of money for a quality fight. If you have a quality fight, people will always pay. You'll get a group of people together and you'll all chip in and you'll go to someone's house. No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. The big fights were on pay-per-view, and if it was a big fight worth watching, you would figure out a way to watch it. So, no, I don't think so. All right, we'll come back. We'll talk more about this. Don't forget my rant coming up at 5 o'clock. No Sean Salisbury today. We moved him to tomorrow because of travel issues. Sean Salisbury will be with me tomorrow right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
The new year is here, a fresh opportunity to tell people about your products and services so they know who to spend their money with. Fox Sports Radio has a Mount Rushmore of sports talk talent. Patrick, Cowherd, Gottlieb, and Sacramento's own Grant Napear. and they have an audience you can take to the bank. This is Fox Sports General Manager Kurt Bagelman. Sports Talk listeners are a unique, target-rich group of consumers. They're employed, they earn six-figure incomes, 2/3 own their own homes, and they listen to the radio longer. Let me repeat that. They listen longer, so your commercial message has more opportunity to be heard. It costs nothing to learn how a good strategy and a great schedule could help your business. So call me, 916-779-0914. 916-779-0914. Radio gets results, and we are here to help. Call 916-779-0914.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Homeowners, if you have an electrical project you need done, then you need the good dudes at Gabrudes. Family owned and operated for 30 years, Jay Gabrude and his team are the area's recognized experts for everything electrical, from the very basic like repairs, lighting upgrades, and whole house fans, to the biggies, panel replacements, EV stations, and backup generators. Gabrudes does it all and does it right the first time. They're actually the guys their competition recommends. Gabrudes, expert 5-star service and always transparent, honest prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Visit Gabrudes.com or call 24/7 and speak with a real live person. Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gabrudes.com.
Hey, it's Grant Napear from my friends at DAS Mechanical. Did you know most homeowners are changing their heating and air systems from gas to all electric? It's about getting more energy efficiency and saving a lot more money every month on energy bills. If your current heating and air system is 15 years or older, it may be time to consider a change. Call DAS Mechanical first. Nearly all of DAS's work is gas to electric whole system changeouts. Nick and his team, they're experts. They also have 0% financing and 24/7 availability if you ever have a heating emergency. Award-winning, locally owned. It's DAS Mechanical, serving their Sacramento and Placer County neighbors for years. Save more on your energy bills. Call, text, or chat at 530-591-1055 to find out more, or go to dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org.
We've got great news for vehicle owners, regardless of what you drive, here at Downtown Ford Sacramento. For a limited time, bring your car or truck to Downtown Ford. We'll beat any major tire store's prices on a set of world-class Michelin or BF Goodrich tires. Then, we'll kick you down an $80 mail-in rebate. And that goes for any car or truck you drive. You'll get the best deal anywhere on Michelin or BF Goodrich tires installed by our top-notch service team, plus an $80 rebate. That's how we operate here at Downtown Ford. We've been selling Fords for over 100 years, and we've learned some things. Rule number 1 is to put the customer first. Treat customers right, and they come back. That's our formula, and it's why we were chosen as a Car Guru's top dealership for 2025. We are Downtown Ford Sacramento. Come see us on Howe Avenue. Online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
Gotta love social media. D. Orlando Ledbetter, the Falcons beat writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, put out a tweet that said Kevin Stefanski, who's the new head coach in Atlanta, had a dumpster fire at quarterback in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson failed, which started a chain reaction to 11 other starters. Quarterback Shedeur Sanders closed out last season with 7 starts. Baker Mayfield, 1 hour ago, responded on his X account. Failed is quite the reach, pal. Still waiting on a text call from him after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach. Oh, boy. That's going to be fun. Baker, when he's taking on the Atlanta Falcons. We go across the country to Washington, D.C. and Rahil. Hello, Rahil. Good afternoon or good evening where you are. How are you?
No, you know why I'm calling. It's not to remind you that I knew that that your team that you picked, that they have the elite defense, which they kind of do.
No, they don't kind of do. They
They
do.
lost. Well,
Yes, they
you
did.
know, I was kind of like thinking that you were making them. If you were going to say they were all of a sudden LT, and going on and on, and I'm thinking,
Well, they destroyed the team that you
way
told me they would
overboard.
lose to. They absolutely mocked them and it was so bad that their coach isn't there anymore, and Mike Tomlin.
Did they not lose? They lost.
Yes, they did. They did lose to New England.
Because
Yes, they did.
What did I tell you? I told you, sir, that C.J. Stroud, the offense was terrible, and you have to have some offense. I mean, I know defense wins games sometimes.
Yeah, he was terrible. I don't think he'll be the quarterback next year. I think they have to get a new quarterback
I feel
there.
bad because he's such a good guy, really.
No, he is.
You know, everything.
Yep.
He's a very good guy, and I feel
Yep.
bad for him, really, honestly, because at the end of the day, he's still young, and I do hope he gets it together because his story is really, really something. Really,
It is.
His
It's an
story is
amazing
something.
story. I totally agree with you. And he's an easy guy to root for, but his 2 playoff games were as bad as they get. Who's going to the Super Bowl? Who do you like this weekend?
Oh, I don't like any of the teams, honestly. But you know who I'm rooting for? I am not, because I told you I'm from the Bay Area, so I grew up loving the Niners, obviously. But if the Rams went, I would be happy only for one person, and that would be for finally for Devontae to get a Super Bowl ring. He deserves it. And he was all those years with Aaron, and they're still best friends. So I'm rooting for Devontae to finally get his ring since the Niners are not going to go. But I think it'll be probably Seattle, maybe Denver. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't care because none of my teams are in. So, but
Hey, I'm
that's not why
curious.
I'm
As
calling.
a Niners fan, I'm just curious.
Mhm.
It's been quite a run, and they've had the consistency at coach, and now they lose their defensive coordinator again, Robert Saleh. And you saw what happened to the Niners
I love
defense.
Robert Saleh.
But are you a Kyle Shanahan fan? Do you like him as your head
You know
coach?
what? I do like, let me tell you. Well, with Robert Saleh, I actually met him. He's a Habibi. I speak Arabic. It's one of my languages that I speak.
Wow.
I work actually. That's why I called, because last week you were going on that I wasn't going to call in, and so my friend started texting me. That's why I was all, what? That she's not going to call in? She's not a woman of her word. I do what I do.
Now wait a minute. Now
and
let
I'm
me stop
such a-
you. Let me stop you. I did not say you weren't going to call in. I actually said I have no reason not to take her at her word. I didn't say you weren't going to call in. That's
yeah, and
not true.
actually, I was working really late last week. We had some stuff, and I was in Bethesda. So driving back from Bethesda, anybody that knows the Beltway, so driving from Bethesda back into it was a little bit of a drive, but with the traffic. But no, I was calling in because of that. And then I heard you yesterday. Honestly, that was the best show ever, because I'm so I'm a very friendly, outgoing, loving person, but I also have traveled so much and seen the world and everything and all the woke crap that goes on and stuff like that. And seeing it in sports, it really bothers me, because people need to get an understanding. And I really think, Grant, if people were really to travel, especially really young people, it would give them a sense of understanding about the world we live in. You go into certain parts of the Middle East where I have worked a lot and have traveled extensively, and women don't have rights over there in certain parts and stuff. And when I go back home and I see people, protesting certain things, they don't even know what they're talking about. They don't know, because if you really knew and understand, and when you had that show yesterday, honestly, it was the best show ever. And thank you for that, because I think people need to have a real awareness and not just go in with other groups and say, well, they don't, and just be, protest. They don't even know what they're protesting for. Honestly, if you go into some of these areas. So I want to give you kudos on that show.
Well,
yesterday.
you know
It
what?
was
Thank
really
you. And
good.
the reason why I said that on MLK Day, and I was talking about, I was trying to keep it to sports, but in a nutshell, here in this country, we have this, I guess, ego that we feel like we're the best of everything. And the reality is that when you travel to other parts of the world and you learn about cultures and you talk to people that don't look like you, don't sound like you, maybe are not the generation that you're in, and you see how they live and you see their work ethic and you see the amount of money that they do make or don't make, and you see about their family values and how they work to take care of their mom and their dad and their grandparents and so on and so forth, like so many countries do, you get an appreciation that I don't think many of us, and again, I don't want to stereotype here, that many of us gloss over in this country because we haven't had the ability, opportunity, or I'm going to use the word privilege to travel like you have and like I have. And the biggest blessing of my life has been traveling, not going to tourist areas, but going to small towns and talking to people that I never in a million years thought I would talk to. And what I have found is that we have more things in common than not, and that really we all want the same thing. We really do as a society, and yet we have so many wars and we have conflict. But when you sit down one-on-one with a person, a stranger from a different background, you walk away from that meeting going, wow, I can't believe how much we have in common.
And that's true what you're saying. And I don't understand people because they, they riot of things if they only knew what goes on. And, coming from a mixed background, knowing a few languages and learning and traveling, it has been a blessing. And then, just loving our country. When I come back, I'm so happy to be home because there's no country. We're such a blessed country with God. And and I just want young people to be more aware. And I do work in a very crazy thing, but I don't get into it, Grant, because I want to be happy and I take it. I do my work, but at the same time, I'm very honest. So if you want to know something, ask me. If you don't want to know, that's what I tell people. Don't ask me off of the record.
I love
because
that.
I will be honest.
I
And
love that.
I love that what you did yesterday. So I couldn't be that mad at you. But last week, I was like, he's telling people that I'm not. And all my friends were texting me. One of them will call next week to you. I was like, they were cracking up. They go, Rahel, they were like saying you're not going to call in, but I'm a woman of my word. And yeah,
I
I'm
love
really happy that Robert Saleh got a second chance after the Jets because I think he deserved it. And I was really happy with that defense he did so much with, even when the Niners were dropping off. But I want to ask you one thing, because I know you brought that up. I just want to ask one thing. The Niners, when I went in and I looked, they are always injured. And I'm wondering, do they need to get rid of the whole, it's constant. It's been like this for years. They're the only team that has so many injuries. And there has to be they come up with different theories. But I'm just thinking the strength and conditioning people, should they all be fired? And let's be honest, there has been a lot of injuries on that team. And everybody knows it. So I'm just
I will
wondering.
tell you this, and being a Giants fan and having a lot of contacts with the Giants, they had a season where almost every single one of their receivers were injured. They got hurt. And the guy that I'm really close with told me, goes, well, the problem is they all have their own trainers during the offseason, and they all have different training regimens instead of what the team prescribes as the best way. And I think what's happened now, there's such a specialization with our athletes, particularly in the NFL in the offseason, and they have the money to go out and do all of the bells and whistles, and they try to reinvent the wheel. And maybe player A has a trainer who differs a little bit with player B and player C, which goes against really what the trainer of the team wants to have as the standard in terms of training regimen and things that are good to do and not good to do. And I honestly, Rahil, just from my conversation with people around the league, I think that's part of it. I really do.
It's sad because they really deserve to be there. And I wanted to see Trent Williams get his Super Bowl ring. And
I know.
And I know Shanahan, I'm just wondering if it's too much of the X and O's and missing that. I mean, in the fourth quarter, he just doesn't win in that fourth quarter, and it just doesn't seem anything like his dad. And although he's a great mind as far as X's and O's, and I'm wondering if there's a missing element, which is leaving them without another Super Bowl. I know they had the injuries, but it just seems like every year it's something with them. And there's such they had the elite team, and when they had Debo and when I go to the Commanders games, or when I do go, it's only because somebody's coming that I want to see. And seeing Debo in that, at his heyday when they were playing the Eagles and beating the Eagles, I mean, there was nothing like it because when I go into those games, they're like the worst fans, and I know people are going to get mad about that, but they're just so mean and angry. But then you see, Debo in a different uniform, and it's so sad. But I just want them to win at some point, and I'm rooting for Aaron to come back one more time and give it the last hurrah. I would love to see him play somewhere. I don't know if it's even reasonable anymore, but I know he's old. But And I just hope that in this last tournament, I just felt so bad for Mike Tomlin too. He didn't deserve that, and even though whatever people, whatever, he didn't deserve to go out like that, and it just felt so sad.
Well, Mike Tomlin is somebody that if I had a coaching vacancy, I would do everything in my power to have him be my next head coach. I've loved Mike Tomlin. I believe that he has been underappreciated in Pittsburgh and by the media in general due to the fact that their playoff wins over the last several years have not been there. But he's never had a losing season. I love the standard. I love the culture that he has. I've always said this. I've never met Mike Tomlin, but just from afar, if I were a player, he's a guy that I would love to play for.
Yeah, we went to the Steelers game a couple of weeks ago, and it was so cold, and I was hoping it would be cold. That's why I wanted CJ and the guys to go, and I think the cold weather actually hurt him. But to me, he seems injured. I don't know. He's not the same as he was 2 years ago. So we'll have to see. But I love the show. I will continue to hear you guys. You guys are terrific, and I appreciate what you did yesterday, because giving people awareness is the best thing ever. Take care. God bless, guys. Take care.
You're the best. Thank you. What a great call from Rahil from D.C. Second time she's called the show, or the third time. And I love conversation like that. That's why I do my radio show, because of people like Rahil. 916-779-0929. And I really mean that. That's why I do this show. 916-779-0929. And, we always say stick to sports. And you know me, I don't like to get political. And I try to stay off the political vein. But we didn't have a political conversation. We had a conversation about, what is reality? And the reality is Rahil has been blessed to travel around the world. And I have been blessed to travel around the world. And I've talked about my wife, who went over to Zambia with her sisters and others to teach the women of that part of the world, things that you don't have to teach the women over here in America, and spending their time and doing work that changes people's lives. That's important. That's like talking about who won the game last night. That's not really important. We just do it because we're crazy sports fans. But if you want to make a difference in the world, then you got to do it. You just can't talk about it. You have to do it. And if you get on an airplane and you're going to an impoverished country with others, and you are completely out of your element, and you're connecting with others that have no understanding or appreciation or what have you of what you have in your life, and you go and see how they live, and the fact that, as Rahil said, women's rights in many of those countries don't exist, and they're second-class citizens, and we can go on and on. When you're able to go over and do things like that and help change people's lives around the world, and what Rahil was talking about, I don't mind talking about that on the radio from time to time. Not at all. Because you know what? That's what makes the world a better place. There's just, unfortunately, not enough people that are willing to do that, or they're all talk and no action. Forget about the all talk and no action. You want to do something? Do it. Stop talking about it. Do it. Just like I'll do with Grant's Rant. I don't just tell you I'm going to do it. I deliver. That's coming up next right here. The Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports Sacramento.
Are your lights flickering more than a disco ball? Tired of your office coffee maker and server room fighting over that one working outlet? Call the pros who keep the juice flowing. Elite Power Inc. Elite Power Inc. is the commercial and industrial electrical contractor who takes your power and lighting seriously so you don't have to. Elite Power Inc. handles everything from rewiring ancient office buildings to installing cutting-edge control panels in factories. Their IBEW 340 electricians have more certifications than your printer has error messages. And they promise not to judge your breaker panel's creative labeling. Get plugged in with Elite Power Inc., where sparks fly, but only in a good way. Professionally trained technicians, 24-hour electrical service, maintenance, and repair. Project estimating, the knowledge and skill for any commercial or industrial need. Call 916-739-1580. That's 916-739-1580, or go to elitepower.com.
At Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort, just as our name says, we're in the business of home comfort. So if the heater goes out and the house is suddenly uncomfortable, we got your back. Sierra Pacific's friendly heating and air technicians are always ready to come to the rescue when you need it the most. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort, trusted heating, air, solar, and electric experts. Visit today at SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air, the guys in the big red trucks.
Are you SAC Alert? Have you signed up to receive emergency alerts via phone, text, email, or app? Well, what are you waiting for? Winter is coming, and that means there is potential for storms and flooding in our county. Don't get caught off guard or left in the cold. Get urgent storm evacuation and shelter information immediately sent directly to your device. Sign up today at sacramento-alert.org. Again, that's sacramento-alert.org. It's free, quick, and easy to do, and can literally be a lifesaver.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. What Curt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers just pulled off might be the biggest turnaround in the history of American sports. This was college football's losingest program coming into this year, a school that existed as a punchline for generations, now standing alone as a national champ. That kind of rise felt impossible for decades, but the modern version of college football made it real. Not too long ago, hiring the right coach just wasn't enough for these bottom feeder programs. Look at Northwestern. Pat Fitzgerald, respected, great culture, but the ceiling was still a Big Ten title game blowout. Talent gaps were too wide. Resource disparity was off the charts. NIL and transfer portal have closed that gap. They didn't guarantee Indiana a title, but they gave Cignetti the tools to compete. That doesn't mean the Hoosiers' path will be easily copied. What they accomplished is still very, very rare. In this era, history no longer decides your future. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.
What goes better with a meal? Bacon. At Heartland Steakco, they take their bacon seriously. From their double smoked hickory to their honey jalapeno, which brings sweet and spicy together for the perfect combination, to their all-new bacon flavors like whiskey peppercorn with its smoky richness, to their applewood double smoked bacon that's smoked over real applewood chips, to their all-new maple bourbon bacon, which brings out the subtle notes of maple and bourbon for a rich taste. Heartland Steakco has your bacon and USDA Midwestern beef ready to ship and delivered straight to your door. Don't wait. Order today for yourself, a friend, or anyone who loves that true Midwest taste. Ordering is easy at heartlandsteakco.com. And right now, when you spend $199.99 or more, you'll get free shipping plus 2 pounds of bacon with promo code BACON. Go and get your bacon from heartlandsteakco.com. That's heartlandsteakco.com, promo code BACON. Taste the Heartland difference.
Grant Napear is back every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6. This is Fox Sports, KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
It's time for Grant.
All right, Rhino, serve him up.
Grant, what I have served for you is a day off. Today's rant comes from a sports director in Nashville directed at Titans fans thinking they had a chance of landing John Harbaugh.
Julian, my friend, it is a great day for me because a dynasty has begun in the Big Apple. John Harbaugh finalizing a deal to become the next head coach of the New York Football Giants. Sorry, Titans fans. I know you wanted him, but did you really think you were going to get him? I mean, come on. Harbaugh's kind of like that girl that's just a little bit out of your league. You got to shoot your shot. You still got to do it. You still got to shoot your shot. What is this? You got to shoot your shot, And listen, it might not go in, but that's okay because there are plenty of fish in the sea. There's still a lot of head coach candidates for the Titans to choose from, but unfortunately, the hottest one is officially off the market. And Julian, the worst part is the Titans didn't even get a date. Harbaugh stood him up, snuck out of bed in the middle of the night, signed a deal with the Giants. He was supposed to meet with the Titans today. What happened to that?
The one and only Chase Napear on his sports show in Nashville, Tennessee. Like father, like son. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, is a thing of beauty. Love it. Love it. How can I add to that, Rhino? How can I add to that?
I mean, it's pretty good. The hottest girl on the market stood you up, couldn't even get a date.
I'm just like, yeah.
Remember, Chase is in Nashville. He's right in the heart of Titans country.
Yes. Yeah, no. Yeah, he is. And he goes to a couple of Titans games every year. He goes to some Vandy games. He goes to the Predators games. And, he is the producer for the 6 p.m. news on the ABC affiliate there. And then he's got a sports show after that for 30 minutes, 5 days a week that they do. So that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Shout out, by the way, to Chase for getting that to me on very short notice. So thank you, sir.
That's awesome. Right?
I mean,
yes. A lot of people probably are like, what am I listening to there? I'm getting a lot of people saying, whoa. Can you play that again? Like,
yeah, you want to play? You know what? Let's do it.
All right, play it one more time because now we'll set the table. This is my youngest son, Chase Napear, last week in Nashville, Tennessee.
Julian, my friend, it is a great day for me because a dynasty has begun in the Big Apple. John Harbaugh finalizing a deal to become the next head coach of the New York Football Giants. Sorry, Titans fans. I know you wanted him. But did you really think you were going to get him? I mean, come on. Harbaugh's kind of like that girl that's just a little bit out of your league. You got to shoot your shot. You still got to do it. You still got to shoot your shot. What is this? You got to shoot your shot. And listen, it might not go in, but that's okay. Because there are plenty of fish in the sea. There's still a lot of head coach candidates for the Titans to choose from. But unfortunately, the hottest one is officially off the market. And Julian, the worst part is the Titans didn't even get a date. Harbaugh stood him up, snuck out of bed in the middle of the night, signed a deal with the Giants. He was supposed to meet with the Titans today. What happened to that?
So good.
Oh, my God.
Snuck out of bed.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they do have their coach now, Robert Saleh, but Chase did that. I sent him a message after he let me know about that. And I said, you better be careful. He hasn't signed the deal yet. Then what are you going to do if he doesn't? You're going to look pretty bad going on your show if for whatever reason the deal falls through. That's a classic.
He snuck back into bed.
Yeah.
That's what Chase would do.
He snuck back into bed. Oh, my gosh. Like father, like son, right?
I mean, he gets those punchlines across pretty good. And I don't know if that was some sound drops or just a mistake when the voice goes high, but it was perfect. It was really good production.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. So they have a TV show, 30 minutes in the heart of Nashville. So, yeah, he's doing great.
Well,
he's doing great.
And if you're a Titans fan, you're throwing tomatoes at the TV.
Yes.
Like, what's your deal? He kind of took it easy on him, considering.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. Oh, my gosh is right. Yes. Yes. Always nice to carry on the tradition. Some people would call it child abuse with what I've done to my kids with their sports teams, but that's the way I was raised, right?
No.
Root for your dad's team, and my kids all root for the teams that I root for.
No, it would have been potential child abuse if, they rooted for a different team and you changed the locks and you kicked them out and they had to get emancipated.
Yeah, no, well, they know that.
Yeah,
Listen, I told you the story of Little League Baseball all the time with Chase at age 6. and he remembers it. I can guarantee if I had him on the phone right now, he would tell you what it was like being 6 years old, sitting in the back of the car and, wondering what would happen if he played on the Red Sox, if he got selected by the Red Sox. And I was just saying, well, you're not playing, it's really that simple. There's nothing more to it. Like, that's not going to happen, right? Just like I told my wife when we got married, I was very open about this from Dallas. I'm like, hey, I have one rule. You are not allowed to have any Cowboys merch in the house. It doesn't matter when your parents visit, relatives, friends. It's not allowed.
So walk me through this. Is this like a second, third date conversation? Is this something you drop on her after you propose?
I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was an understanding that it wasn't a joke and that I was serious about it. As a matter of fact, I was in the shower, and the night before, or maybe that night, we had been out to dinner with another couple, and they knew that she was from Dallas, and they had bought her, like, I want to say a Cowboys 90, right? And I don't know, like, what was going through her mind at the time, but, like, I looked through the shower and saw her wearing that. And to make a long story short, and if I'm lying, may the roof fall in on my head right now. I said, take that off right now. Take it off. And I went out and I threw it in the garbage. I'm not kidding you. It's a true story. Yeah. I'm like, no. She's like, no, it was a gift. They gave it to me. They don't know. I go, doesn't matter. It's going in the garbage.
She tried the gift loophole.
Yeah.
If it's from somebody else, maybe you can sneak it in. I get that.
So, yeah.
That's funny. Take that off right now.
True story. Yeah. Absolutely. True story. 916-779-0929. I don't these are not stories that I'm telling over the air to make people laugh because I'm exaggerating. No, I'm not exaggerating. Okay.
It's something you passed down. I'm sure the same was with you growing up, right? Like, if you came into the house with a Red Sox hat, what would Bert have done?
She just sent me a text message as I'm talking. She says, that was so funny. It was an understanding, damn straight. And then she replies, replaced by a New York Giants 90. LOL. Yes, very well. Again, some people have understandings. Like, did you ever see the movie Diner?
I have not, no.
Okay. So in the scene of a movie Diner, a young man is getting married, and her, I guess, homework assignment is she's got to learn the two deep of the Baltimore Colts. Okay?
Okay.
She couldn't do it, so he called off the wedding. It's in the movie.
What's funny is there's things like this that commonly happen. They're just not centered around sports. It can be centered around other things. Like, I have friends that when they started dating somebody, they're like, you've got to watch this movie. Because if you're going to be around my friends and we're always going to be joking and pulling quotes from this movie. And they'll give them a copy of the movie, for instance. So,
Like, I don't care about an individual's political beliefs that may be different to mine. It would be nice if you're aligned, but that wouldn't be an issue for me because I believe you believe in what you believe in, right? You don't have to believe 100% of your partner or your best friend or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You are your own individual, and I don't expect you to believe everything I believe. I mean, it would be nice, but you have to be realistic. So those things weren't you didn't have to check a box on that. But when it came to sports, again, I'm if I had on my son's friend, Chris, when I picked him up from high school that day in the pouring rain, and he had his Red Sox shirt on, I said, and it was pouring. It wasn't just drizzling. And they both tried to get in the car. I was picking up Trent from school. He goes, "Hey, can you give Chris a ride home?" And it's literally pouring. And I'm like, "No." Like, Dad, what do you mean no? I go, "He's got a Red Sox shirt on." "Dad, stop it." I'm like, "Tell him to take the shirt off. I'll make a deal. I'll put it in the trunk." And it's literally pouring rain. They're getting soaked. I'm like, "Chris, not coming in the car with that." Took the shirt off, put it in the trunk, sitting in the back seat with no shirt on.
Why is Grant Napear driving around with some kid with no shirt off? That's Grant Napear, right?
I've got I mean, again, I don't. What am I going to do? I'm going to break a rule because it's raining. A little rain.
I get
no,
it.
no. I'm not breaking like my rule just because it's raining out.
So what do you do with the trunk? How do you cleanse the trunk?
Well, I couldn't. I had to at least, I couldn't be that cold blooded where I got to make him walk home and then I got to talk to his parents, because he's going to go home and tell them that okay, put it in the trunk, like, all right, I don't have to see the trunk. I'm never going in the trunk. I'm not going to be like, riding in the trunk. So like I made that, and for me, that was a big concession.
That is a big, yeah. I'm with you. I hear you.
Yeah. Same thing when I had a technician come up to my house one day. I couldn't even remember what it was. I don't know if it was like plumbing, heating and air. I can't remember. But he had a Red Sox hat on. I said, "Hey, I'm sorry. I can't let you in the house with that hat." He started laughing and he knew who I was. I'm like, "Well, I'm not laughing." I go, "You cannot come into the house with that hat on." I said, "I appreciate you showing up and I really need this service done, but I'm not going to have it done with that hat on in the house. You can't wear that hat."
So is that is it just you or is that probably a bigger thing on the East Coast? Because
it's on the East Coast. That I would be in the norm.
Right.
I'm the norm, not the exception.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not making any of this up, by the way. All of this is true. It's just all true.
It's so different because you have so many of the major franchises in major cities located so closely together.
Yes. That's part of it. Yes. There are teams in the Northeast that don't get on an airplane for over a month because you're playing Boston, then you're playing Philly, then you're playing Brooklyn, then you're playing this team, you're playing Washington. Like even the New York Giants, they take Amtrak, they rent a train and they go to play Washington. They don't fly, they take a train. Like Tom Coughlin used to do that all the time. And so here's the other deal. Like, it's debatable what's the best or the most bitter rivalry in sports. Like if it's Duke, North Carolina in basketball, right? Ohio State, Michigan football, maybe Auburn, Alabama, Notre Dame, USC, whatever. You can pick out your rivalry. But it's hard. You'd be hard pressed to find one that's been like the Yankees and the Red Sox. Like it is a cultural thing. And right in the middle of Connecticut is where you get a little bit of leeway. This team, I'm that team. But then once you move further up into New England, it's all Red Sox. And there's no love lost. If you're a Red Sox fan and you're a Yankees fan, like you don't make concessions. You don't it's like the battle lines are drawn.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Why is that rivalry cooled off? Like I was a middle of the ground baseball fan back in like 2004, 5, 6. That was much watch TV or must watch, even if it was a regular season game. And now it's just kind of
very simple. In order to have a top great rivalry, both teams have to be good. And the reality is both teams have not been good in the same year for all intents and purposes for a while. And the coverage of it is different and our world is different. And I just think it's just here's the other aspect. I think with social media and the internet and the fact that we have so much and we have so many choices in front of us all the time, I really think the rest of the country is just done with it and they're just tired of it, right? There's so many anti-Yankee fans in the country, and I think the same would be true of Boston fans. I just think a lot of the fans around the country are tired. They're like enough already, right? They're like enough. And I just think there are a lot of football fans that are glad that Kansas City's not in the playoffs this year.
Great point.
I just think a lot of the fans at some point, they go, enough. Same when the Patriots stopped. They're like, oh, really? We got to watch Tom Brady again? Like, even though it was great football, and I mean, the guy was the consummate professional, and, but the fans were done. They want to change, right? They want something new. Like fans, I think, always are looking for that something new. Just like we talk about Indiana football. regardless of whether you're a fan of Indiana football or not, that's great for college football.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you think is the best rivalry right now?
In college football?
No, just in sports in general.
I think it's hard to beat Duke, North Carolina in basketball and what goes on. They're 7 miles apart on Tobacco Road. And I have never been to a game at Chapel Hill, but I was at a college basketball game at Duke. And being at the Cameron Indoor Stadium to watch a Duke game, I was actually there when Marvin Bagley was there. It was unbelievable. Like, truly, like when I walked in, it was about, 20 to 30 minutes before tip-off. And you walk in and you can, and I'm not exaggerating, the energy in that building, it was the same thing when I went to a Kansas game one year at the All-Star break. And we went to Kansas with Scott and Dawn and spent the weekend in Lawrence and went to the Kansas game on a Saturday afternoon. And they weren't even playing anybody good. They were playing, I think, Pittsburgh. I can't even remember, but it wasn't a good. And the place was unbelievable. Like the environment, the energy. I mean, it's incredible.
Well, you have so many of the diehards, but then you got to think somebody like Dorian. He's going to be on the New York Knicks.
That's
Kings
right. He's
game.
going to the game
He's
next
going
week.
to the game in MSG. Like certain buildings, you're going to have people there just for the first time to root on that team for the first time. And usually it's going to be the home team.
And Dorian will, if the Kings go in there and get on a run early, he'll feel 18,000 fans booing the Knicks. Not just a few, the entire arena will be. Not just a few fans here and there in a couple different sections. The entire arena will be booing. It's just a different mentality. All right, we'll continue this at 916-779-0929. The Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabroods. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Call Gabroods or visit Gabroods.com. G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
If it's time for a heating and air system replacement, Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort has fantastic news. For a limited time, qualified buyers can get a reliable Lennox Ultimate Comfort heating and air system, professionally installed by Sierra Pacific, with no payments and no interest for 12 months. Or you can get back up to $1,800 in rebates. That's a heck of a deal. A new Lennox system fully installed, no payments or interest for a year, or an $1,800 rebate. This offer ends soon and some restrictions apply, so call us now. Sierra Pacific has served Sacramento for more than 4 decades with top-notch heating and air service. We're pleased to leverage our relationship with Lennox to bring you this amazing offer on a Lennox Ultimate Comfort HVAC system installed by our team at Sierra Pacific. Visit now at SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air, the guys in the big red trucks.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
Decisions determine results. So which path do I want to take? Help people in need or stand on the sidelines watching? Worry about how to pay for school or have my education paid for? Push myself and learn new skills or stay the same? My decision is to serve part-time with the Army National Guard, and my results will be life-changing. What will you decide? Go to NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Sponsored by the California Army National Guard. Aired by the California Broadcasters.
916-779-0929. Again, that's 916-779-0929. Been a good show today. I would like talking about these different topics. Always fun. Always enjoy hearing from my good buddy Philip, asking me about the Raiders. So that's a good day. Having Rahil call from Washington, D.C. Good day. So, yeah, I'm happy. All of it's good. All of it's good. But I love when I hear from my good buddy Philip in Galt. Puts a smile on my face. Thank you, Philip. Appreciate you and appreciate your message. All right, again, if you want to get in on the program, that's 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. What do you want to talk about for the rest of the show? Because we have a lot to talk about. Jason says, couldn't find a text line for Fox Sports SAC. Well, I'm going to let you know, okay? Let me give the text number. Easy to do. By the way, I did a cameo for this individual, and he was just texting me to say thank you and said, hey, what about the text line on Fox Sports Sacramento?
916-779.
That's what I said. Yeah.
0929.
Exactly. Absolutely. This from the 858. Rhino, this is interesting. Steve Kerr refusing to play Jonathan Kuminga is the most embarrassing NBA coaching move this season. Well, you can say that, but here's the problem with saying that. You don't know really what's going on behind the scenes. And this is the biggest thing that I've tried to point out to fans of teams. You think you know what's going on behind the scenes, but you really don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And very often what you think is going on is the opposite of what's going on. So you need to be careful when you make a comment like that, because very often you're wrong. And very often there is something that is going on that you're not aware of, because you have to use common sense here. Common sense is Steve Kerr wants to win. Why? Well, that's been something he's done his entire career. Whether you like him or not, you can't really debate that. So do you think that Steve Kerr is not playing Jonathan Kuminga and in the process losing games because of it and doesn't want to make a move? Now, you could come to that conclusion if you are a Kings fan and you ask yourself, why have the Kings treated Malik Monk and to a degree Keon Ellis this way? I mean, don't they want to win? Isn't Malik Monk one of your best players? So why has Doug Christie benched Malik Monk and used him sparingly for a big portion of this season? You have to ask yourself, why is that? Is there something else that's going on behind the scenes that maybe we're not privy to? So when you say Steve Kerr refusing to play Jonathan Kuminga, is he really refusing to play Kuminga? And if that is true, then Kuminga would not play tonight now that Jimmy Butler has gone down with an ACL, and I find that hard to believe. So we're going to hear a lot more about this, because if Kuminga is moved before the deadline on the 5th of February, you're going to hear a lot more about what really was going on behind the scenes, because then both parties will be more apt to talk about the issues at hand. But we had Malik Monk sound for you yesterday, And it made us raise our eyebrows based on what Malik said when he was asked about playing or not playing, or I'm paraphrasing. He said, you need to ask Doug that. And then he went back and talked about last year. And at the beginning of the year, when he was asked about the 4-game winning streak, and he was like, it was like kind of a wow moment from a guy like Malik Monk. So, there are situations that make you scratch your head where you were like, wait a minute, what on earth is going on? All right. I don't know what's going on with Malik Monk. I really don't. It just has not made sense. I've been very open about this. Okay. I wish I could give you an answer because it just doesn't make sense to me. Not if you want to win games. Like if you want to win games, Malik Monk needs to be playing. You're not going to win games without Malik Monk, or you're not going to win as many games, I should say. I shouldn't say you're not going to win games. You're not going to win as many games without Monk. And if you're going to the game right now and you're in the car and you're on your way to Golden One Center to see the Kings take on the Miami Heat, Keon Ellis is not on the injury report after missing 2 games. Are we going to see Russell Westbrook play 35 to 40 minutes a game? Really? Seriously? Are we going to watch a 37-year-old point guard, play that many minutes? Like, why are we talking about this still in the 3rd week of January? Like, why are we having this conversation? Because, again, I always go back to, does it make sense or does it not make sense? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, the Kings are 12-31, boys and girls. They're not like 20-31. They're 12-31. Okay? They're 12-31. How bad is that? Well, there's only 3 teams with a worse record in the NBA than the Kings. And yet, every time we're on the postgame show, or almost every time we're on the postgame show over on YouTube and X with Rhino and Jerry Reynolds, we're asking ourselves, why are the veterans like DeRozan and Westbrook and Levine, especially DeRozan and Westbrook, playing nearly 40 minutes on most nights? We don't understand it. Why are we not seeing the minutes distributed with Malik Monk and Keon Ellis? And don't even bring up Devin Carter's name. You wouldn't even know he's on the team anymore. If we're really talking about the future, because this season is already not about this season, it's about the future. It's why we talk about Dylan Cardwell. It's why we talk about Max Reynaud. But we're not talking about a 27-year-old Malik Monk, who's one of the best players on the team, and Devin Carter, who was your first-round draft pick last year. You wouldn't even know he's on the team.
And
it's crazy, Ryan.
It is. I don't mean to cut you off, but I do want to throw this in because we were talking about Domantas Sabonis and him not starting the last couple games, which we were okay with, but tonight we're thinking he needs to start. Doug Christie's having his media availability right now, and Jason Anderson, who is taking part in that press conference, said Kings coach Doug Christie said playing Domantas Sabonis 20 to 21 minutes in the first 2 games back from injury was decision-based and not injury restrictions. So what we've said on the air about they don't bring guys back if there's going to be a minutes restriction is true. So that is a coaching decision, and that's another storyline to watch that's right in line with this. Is this going to be a game where Domantas Sabonis comes off the bench again, Grant?
Well, if Sabonis does not start, they should fire the coach. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be blunt about it. If your 3-time All-Star, who's your best player on the Kings, we're not even debating that. He's your best player, okay? If he does not start tonight, the coach should be fired or the general manager should be fired. Let's just call it the way it is. Let's stop with the nonsense. All right, do not come out after the game and tell us you're trying to win the game and you're not going to start Domantas Sabonis. All right, we got the rust away. He had a practice yesterday. We've got 2 games under his belt. We're talking about a 3-time All-Star who should be a 5-time All-Star who got screwed in the last 2 years by not being on the All-Star team. Let's just call it the way it is. If he does not start, there needs to be accountability, okay? There needs to be accountability. And Doug Christie, who really has done a terrible job, enough is enough already with this nonsense. Enough is enough. This is an embarrassment. If Domantas Sabonis does not start, the fans should be in an uproar over this. This would be an outrage. Period. I mean, stop it already. Seriously.
Okay.
Stop it.
Outrage is one thing, but surprise, would it be that with what we've seen with Malik Monk and how he's been handled?
No, nothing this year has surprised me because nothing has made sense, beginning with the Russell Westbrook signing. Okay, and we can go on and on. Nothing has made sense to me. The rotations, the coaching decisions, nothing has made sense. Nothing. Nothing.
I will say this, Doug appears to be much more comfortable with a Sabonis lineup that includes Dylan Cardwell.
Well, then put Dylan Cardwell next to him if you want, okay? But Sabonis is your best player and needs to start, period. It's not debatable. He's your best player on the team, okay? You could debate if you want to say, well, Grant, I think DeMar DeRozan. Okay, whatever. But you can't have the conversation and not have Sabonis right there at the top of the list.
Yes, and especially when at the start of the season, the offense was changed, tweaked around Domantas Sabonis to get him better looks. And you can't say, well, the offense has stunk because Domas has only played in 13 games. He's been injured.
Doug Christie has made it very clear the offense isn't the problem with this team.
Well, and he's kind of backtracking a little bit on that. It depends on the game. It depends on the mood, whether you get the answer that, bad shots is the best or the worst defense for us. It goes back and forth. Clearly, Doug wants to focus on the defensive side, but let's be straight up about it. Domas was not thrilled with this offense 15 games into the season. Frustrated is closer than
and you want to lose the locker room? Treat Domantas Sabonis the way you've treated Malik Monk, okay, and see what happens. You think the vets in that locker room are not looking around going, what the hell is going on here?
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, so coaching decision, he only played between 20 and 21 minutes.
I'm okay with that coming off an injury to the extent that he did. I'm okay with that.
But it was a coaching decision. It wasn't a decision based off the injury.
I'm okay with that because Doug has the basketball knowledge of being a player and knowing what it's like to come back from an injury. And so I don't have a problem with that. But now after 2 games and a day off and everything else, and he's checked out well, he needs to start. He's one of your very best players, if not the best. I think he's your best player. He needs to start.
Zach LaVine only came off the bench one time after his ankle.
Thank you. Now, he wasn't out as long as Domantas, but still, your point is well taken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I want to talk to you about my friends at DAS Mechanical. Did you know most homeowners are changing their heating and air systems from gas to all electric? It's about getting more energy efficiency and saving a lot more every month on your energy bills. And who doesn't want to do that? So here's the bottom line, folks. If your current heating and air system is 15 years or older, it may be time to consider a change. Get in touch with DAS Mechanical first. Nearly all of DAS's work is gas to electric whole system changeouts. Nick and his team, they're experts. They specialize in this. They're awesome. And they also have 0% financing. And keep this in mind, 24/7 availability if you ever have a heating emergency. Award-winning, locally owned, family-owned, it's DAS Mechanical, serving their Sacramento and Placer County neighbors for years. Just go to dasmechanical.org. You can schedule everything online, check out all of their 5-star reviews, and their numerous Best of the Best awards. That's D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, mechanical.org, dasmechanical.org. Boy, hard to believe we're already at the finish line. Final segment. Coming up, we'll talk more about the Kings and the Heat and get into this right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Are your lights flickering more than a disco ball? Tired of your office coffee maker and server room fighting over that one working outlet? Call the pros who keep the juice flowing. Elite Power Inc. Elite Power Inc. is the commercial and industrial electrical contractor who takes your power and lighting seriously so you don't have to. Elite Power Inc. handles everything from rewiring ancient office buildings to installing cutting-edge control panels in factories. Their IBEW 340 electricians have more certifications than your printer has error messages. And they promise not to judge your breaker panel's creative labeling. Get plugged in with Elite Power Inc., where sparks fly, but only in a good way. Professionally trained technicians, 24-hour electrical service, maintenance, and repair. Project estimating, the knowledge and skill for any commercial or industrial need. Call 916-739-1580. That's 916-739-1580 or go to elitepower.com.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number.
800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. That's 800-941-4184.
Final segment. So let's get into this a little bit more. What did Doug Christie say in his pregame press conference about Domantas Sabonis? So give us more information on that.
Yeah, so I'm going to paraphrase. Basically, Domas was out for 2 months. That's a while. It's going to be a process that we're going to go through to get him to be where he wants to be at. And they are playing to a standard, and they're playing to win basketball games. And that is what's going to judge Doug's decision-making towards the end of games about Domas's minutes.
So why is Russell Westbrook on the floor at end of games?
Good question.
Well, you're trying to win games, right?
Well, Doug gave me that answer. I asked him, why is Russ and Dennis Schroeder on the floor at the end of the games together? And he said, because those are two guys we know that will go after it in a moment to win the game. Now, if we
Malik doesn't go after it to win a game, he's better than both those guys in crunch time.
Okay, so that's my next question. My next question is, well, what's the list look like in our opinion of guys that meet that qualification? Malik's on my list too. Who else?
Well, if you're asking me, Sabonis has got to be on the floor because he's one of your very best players. And listen, I don't have a problem with DeRozan. I mean, he is one of the most prolific one-on-one players in the league when he has the ball in the position that gives him the ability to do so. You almost have to double him. I don't want Russell standing behind the line, chucking up threes at the end of a game. I'm getting tired of seeing that. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just tired of seeing it.
Your best shot, in my opinion, and I am not an NBA coach, But Russell Westbrook and Dennis Schroeder has to be an or, not an and or.
Correct.
When it comes
Correct.
to the end of basketball games.
Correct. They can't be on the floor together. I agree with you. And Malik Monk, if I'm coaching, he's on the floor at the end of games.
Agree. I'm with you with DeMar DeRozan. I'm with you about Sabonis. That opens up that last spot to be
well, you could go with who's playing well at that point in time, or whether it's more of an offensive situation that you need or a defensive situation that you need.
Yeah. Last time the Kings played the Heat in December, the Kings won. Zach LaVine had 42 points. You had 6 Kings that were in double digits. So that was good. He had it going, but that's where you have to go, because it's not about just the player having it going. It's also about the defense having to pay attention to the player having it going, which opens up things for other people on the floor.
From the 530, Grant, Doug keeps talking about this certain standard. What the heck is he talking about? What standard? He gives me Nathaniel Hackett vibes, talking about the football coach. I'm with you. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that you normally win games, or you have a better chance of winning games when you have your best players on the floor. Generally speaking, in order to win games, you have a higher success rate when you have your best players on the floor, or better yet, players that you know, based on combinations, work better when they're on the floor together.
We weren't able to play. Yes, absolutely. We weren't able to play the cut yesterday, but Doug was asked along those lines about the offense in the standard, and the paraphrased version is it's the Kings sharing the basketball. It's the Kings getting to the paint, passing it around, creating advantages for your teammates, and then keeping that advantage if you're the teammate that it's passed along to. And he went as far to say it's painful at times to watch when the ball is not moving. It's painful to coach it.
Sure.
And so that's where that line is, where we've talked about the quote unquote, in Doug's words, closing unit, when it's just ISO basketball. Now, we haven't seen that a ton over the last 5-6 games, but up until the last 5-6 games, Grant, that's what it was. That's what they were going to. So you're going to the painful thing that's against the standard that you want to play to.
This message from the 916. Would you be upset if the Kings win 28 games? I'm not going to be upset no matter what, because I don't get upset over this stuff anymore. But I mean, it depends what the other teams at the bottom, how many wins they have. I can't really answer that question.
28 games isn't going to get you into the play-in, but I would be very disappointed for this fan base if the Kings ended up in the play-in. And understand, my eyes are far beyond this season.
Here's what bothers me about what is going on with the Sacramento Kings right now. Okay? You have 2 players. The names are Malik Monk and Domantas Sabonis. Whether you like them or not, this is not debatable. Okay? They are among the very best players on the team. It's not debatable. One player is a multi-time All-Star. Okay, 3 All-Star appearances, should be 5. Who has been a workhorse for your franchise, who loves being in Northern California, has been very open about being in Sacramento, whose name is Domantas Sabonis. You have another player, Malik Monk, who, without question, is one of your best players, who you have completely perplexed and bewildered. And I think it was very apparent when we played the sound of his from yesterday that you are now in the process of pissing off not only one of your best players who loves being here, but now you're going to do it again to your workhorse, who a guy that has played hurt, played with a torn ligament, has done everything he can do to get onto the floor, and he brings his lunch pail every single day. And now you're going to do that to him? And if you think that Domantas Sabonis is not upset at this, then you don't know Sabonis. And you don't know athletes. Because I'm telling you right now, unequivocally, 100%, that Sabonis is not happy. Guarantee it. It's not a guess. I'm just guaranteeing it. This is ridiculous, what is going on with this franchise. And you're telling me your goal is to win games? Really? You have a point differential of 10 in the negative, and you got the fourth worst record in the NBA, and you keep on talking about winning games. You know what you ought to do? You ought to protect the players that want to be in your franchise, that are among your best players, and you better find a way to make them happy. That's what you need to do instead of this rah-rah, six standard crap, my six principles. It's a bunch of nonsense. It's a facade, okay? It is a facade. It's just an absolute embarrassment. There's no other way to say it. It is a freaking joke. What? And after what you've done to Malik Monk and Keon Ellis, now you're going to do the same thing to Domantas Sabonis? What an outrage. The fans should not accept this. They should not let this slide. It is wrong. Plain and simple, it is wrong.
And that is assuming that he does not start. But what you're saying is spot on. And what we heard from Scott Perry at the beginning of the season was, we want volunteers, not hostages. You're turning volunteers into hostages.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I really don't. I do not understand what, assuming that he does not start, and based on listening to Doug's comments that you played for me during the break that you just paraphrased, sure doesn't sound that way. Right?
I mean, to me, listening to that, saying it's going to be a process to get to where he wants to be at, that to me says, yeah, he's not starting. That's just me, because you're probably not going to say that if you're starting.
If you want to win games, put your best players on the floor. It's really that simple. It's not brain surgery. Okay? If you really want to win, if that is your focal point, then put your best players on the floor. Okay? That's it.
Okay.
There's a reason why the Kings have the fourth worst record in the NBA. One of them, by the way, is injuries, and I acknowledge that. But if you look at rosters around the NBA, there are a lot of teams that have been without key players all year, and they have managed to win. The Sacramento Kings have not, and they've also managed to completely embarrass their best players and their veterans. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let's say Sabonis does not start tonight, and you get a phone call tomorrow that proposes this is because they want to make sure he's healthy through the deadline. Is that delusional?
Oh, please.
Is that
has nothing to do with being healthy through the deadline?
Okay.
You either play 0 minutes, but if you're playing 21 minutes, no, not at all.
All right.
You either play him or you don't play him. It has nothing to do with the trade deadline.
You know that's going to be the question.
Well, it could be the question, but I already have the answer. No, it has nothing to do with it. I mean, come on.
We'll know in just about 50 minutes from now is when I usually, or they send out the starting lineup. So we'll have an idea of that. We'll keep you
30 minutes before tip-off. But I'm with you. I don't think he's starting. And it makes zero sense to me. It's embarrassing. They're humiliating him. Don't humiliate Domantas Sabonis. You've already done that with Malik Monk. Like, that's the organ. You talk about, Scott Perry wants to talk about his 6 principles. One of them is professionalism, correct?
Correct.
You think the organization is acting with professionalism to treat their best players this way? That's not professional. It's embarrassing. I'm sorry. It is. There's just no other way to say it.
Okay, but there's going to be a counter argument at some point, when you have Max in the starting lineup, that this is also about developing the young guys. And
Well, no, it's not. It's about winning. You just heard the coach say, we are here to win games. And if it's about developing the young guys, then where's Devin Carter? How come he doesn't play? How come Russell Westbrook is playing 40 minutes a night? How come DeMar DeRozan's playing 40 minutes a night? If it's about developing the young guys, how do you explain that?
Yeah, it's a good point. You're not doing
if it's about developing the young guys, how come you don't see Devin Carter play? How come Keon Ellis sometimes plays, sometimes doesn't?
Right.
And how come Malik Monk in the prime of his career, 27, has been completely dumped on by the organization?
Right.
So come on.
And this is going to be the first game back where Doug's going to have to. I don't see Doug going 11 deep, especially with that guard lineup. So
you can't.
Is it going to be a cut down on minutes? Is it going to be Malik back to the bench? Is it going to be Keon staying on the bench? That decision will start happening before your eyes tonight against the Heat.
I don't think Keon's going to play tonight. I'm going to put the over-under on him right now at 6, and I'm going under.
Yeah, and they're committed to Neek Clifford. Neek's getting the consistent minutes, so I have no reason to think he's going to go back to the bench. He's one of the first people.
I'll give you the over-under on Neek at 15. I'm going under. He hasn't been playing that much.
No, but that's still 15 minutes. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's not 6,
Sure.
7.
Yeah.
So,
all right, let's have fun here. You going under or over with 15?
Under.
Okay, me too. Keon, 6, under or over?
Under.
Me too.
Malik, 17, under or over?
Over.
With you.
And then what about Sabonis? 22. Which way are you going?
Over.
Yeah, I hope so. But he needs to start. You don't take one of your best players and not start him. I understand the first game, the second game, you had a back-to-back. I get that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay. Well, it wasn't a back-to-back, but I'm okay with that. Portland was on the back-to-back, not Sacramento. You had a day off. So 2 games, okay. You made the statement with Zach LaVine when you had him come off the bench for a game, and then you started him. But he wasn't out as long as Sabonis. But, okay, so now it's been a couple of days and 2 games, couple of practices. He needs to start.
So maybe
he's one of your best players.
So
If
maybe
not, I think he's your best player.
Maybe that's the reason, because they're on a back-to-back now. Could that be a feasible thought in Doug Christie's mind?
No, based on he said it has nothing to do with a minutes restriction, no.
Okay.
If he said it has to do with a minutes restriction, I would say, yeah, okay. But no. Once you're clear to play and you're good to play, you're good to play.
I agree with you. And the Kings have done a good job with not rushing guys back. Domas, Zach, they all got fully healthy. Go look at Fox Sports X page. Go look at my X page, and you will see videos of Domas's on-court workouts going off of both legs. Yep. He looks good.
Yep. Yeah, he does. Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget, post-game show tonight over on YouTube and X. Jerry, Rhino, and myself, we will be breaking it all down. Tomorrow, Sean Salisbury will be with us, so we'll get his thoughts on everything NFL and what we just witnessed with the Indiana Hoosiers. Really enjoyed the show today and the topics and everything else. Hope you have a great evening, everybody. And again, I'll be back here tomorrow at 3 o'clock. For Rhino in Sacktown, I'm Grant Napear saying so long. And thanks for listening right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Bye-bye.
Tired of the same old routine? Need a place where the beer flows and the good times roll? Then head to Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Family owned and operated, so you know you'll feel right at home. Catch all your favorite games on 18 big screens while enjoying amazing food. And with 28 beers on tap, you're sure to find something you love. And don't miss everyday happy hour from 3 to 7 and again from 10 till close. Looking for more than just the game? Trivia Tuesday starts at 7 p.m. And there's Mario Kart and bingo nights for even more fun, too. There's always a blast happening at Fieldhouse. Whether you're looking for a place to watch the game, grab a bite with the family, or just unwind with friends, Fieldhouse is the place to be. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Bring it to the house.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabrud Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabrud's now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe. Or